Pokémon, I became a Pikachu. Hey, fanfic family. So glad to see you here again to continue this incredible adventure. As always, kindly remember, this story is 100% fiction, so don't go looking for dimensional portals in your closet. All rights to this fantastic novel belong to the original author. We're just your humble narrators of epic tales. Are you enjoying the fanfic? Show it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and dropping us a like. And if you're impatient for more exclusive content, our Patreon is your happy place. Chapter 301 The Brutal Sidnook. Don't touch it. Leave this stupid duck to me. Go, Lickitung. The opponent was merely a Sidnook, and a ridiculously stupid one at that. With Misty's hands and feet bound, and even her mouth gagged, the trainers guarding it were completely playing a game. Clang, with a cry, a Pokémon about 1.2 meters tall, entirely pink, with a long, protruding tongue, appeared before the trainer. Cool, right? Seeing the trainer summon Lickitung, the bewildered Sidnook remained completely confused. What's going on? I didn't hear my master summon me today. What am I being called out for? It's not even lunchtime yet, is it? Facing Lickitung and his trainers, Sidnook showed no sense of danger whatsoever. Even Misty, bound behind it, was, in Sidnook's mind, nothing more than some kind of performance art by its master. Ha ha ha. This stupid duck is so stupid it's heartbreaking. Lickitung, don't hold back, use Lickitung. Seeing Sidnook still tilting its head, looking completely bewildered, the trainer's contempt for it only intensified. They figured its sudden appearance was just an accident. At this moment, none of the trainers expected that Misty summoning Lickitung was entirely for self-defense. Clang, receiving the trainer's command, Lickitung didn't hold back. With its huge beak open, a scarlet tongue instantly licked Sidnook. Splat, caught completely off guard, Sidnook was immediately given a full-body lick by Lickitung. Cool, right, this time, the clueless Sidnook finally reacted. Holy crap! What is this? So disgusting. Sticky and numb, I can't take it. Suddenly attacked, Sidnook panicked and started running around wildly. Ha ha ha. That's hilarious. Is that all? Lickitung, use bind and catch it. We've got our midnight snack. A single probing attack was enough to inflict such damage on Sidnook, causing the trainers to burst into laughter. This stupid duck was just there to relieve their tension. Realizing the duck's true strength, the trainer commanding Lickitung immediately lost interest in continuing the charade. Clang, a cry rang out from Lickitung's mouth again. After the cry, Lickitung's long, scarlet tongue transformed into a vine whip, binding the still bewildered and frantically running Sidnook. Cool, right, once again attacked by this disgusting toy, Sidnook's cry grew even more pitiful. Ha ha ha. Too weak. The Pokémon in the hands of these ordinary trainers are really too weak. The trainer laughed wildly after easily defeating Sidnook. His strength was quite impressive, wasn't it? However, no one present noticed the smile playing on Ziox's lips, who was tied up to the side. After spending some time with the stupid Sidnook, Ziox had basically mastered how to use it. To use Mu Chen's words, this thing practiced the 7-injury fist, and a bootlegged version at that. To hurt others, you must first hurt yourself. Sidnook's strength was indeed terrifying, but to unleash its full potential, there was a prerequisite. First, it needed to be injured. And the greater the injury, the higher the energy it could unleash. Therefore, seeing these unknown trainers begin torturing Sidnook, Ziox immediately saw a glimmer of hope for escape. Continue. Keep torturing this stupid duck. Only by making it angry. Only when it starts to feel pain in its head will this idiot show you its true strength. Under Ziox's expectant gaze, the unsuspecting trainers cooperated perfectly. As Lickitung subdued Sidnook, the trainers picked up stones, sticks, and other hard objects and started hitting Sidnook's round head. If you want roast duck, you have to kill this thing first, right? However, as they continued to hit it, Sidnook's originally confused eyes gradually changed. Cool, right, finally, after enduring a certain amount of damage, a severe headache struck Sidnook again. Stimulated by the headache, Sidnook let out a sharp cry. After the cry, a visible, almost tangible psychic force suddenly rose from Sidnook's body. Damn it! What's going on? Help! Help! Who is it? Do you know who we are? Suddenly controlled by psychic force and suspended in midair, the trainers were clearly confused about the situation. Cool, right, while the other trainers were confused, Sidnook knew exactly what it wanted. These damn bastards dared to humiliate me with that disgusting tongue? They dared to try and beat me with bricks and sticks? I'm furious. In its rage, SYNOPSIS frantically unleashed its psychic power. With the first scream, a spray of blood erupted in front of SYNOPSIS. Under the control of its psychic power, the trainers, unable to escape, couldn't withstand the terrifying pressure and were crushed into a bloody mist. Even the tongue that had disgusted SYNOPSIS for so long couldn't escape this tragic fate. At this moment, SYNOPSIS perfectly demonstrated what it meant for a duck god to be enraged, causing blood to splatter for miles. Pikachu, holy crap! So ferocious? Just then, a golden figure appeared. Looking at the ferocious SYNOPSIS, Mu Chen was equally dumbfounded. What's going on? What the hell? How come I never realized this stupid duck was so ferocious? Earlier, after taking down the Team Rockets with a barrage of electric balls, Mu Chen rushed to Xiaoxi's room. He had given up on interrogation. His only hope was to find some clues at the place where Xiaoxi had been kidnapped. Unexpectedly, just as Mu Chen was about to reach Xiaoxi's rented guest house, a SYNOPSIS psychic energy fluctuation suddenly emanated from nearby. Others might not know, but Mu Chen certainly did. Upon discovering this, Mu Chen naturally ran towards it. However, upon arriving at the scene, Mu Chen realized that this stupid duck seemed to be in a state of extreme power. Moreover, with no opponent, this stupid duck had actually set its sights on him. Chapter 302 Who is the boss? Cool, right. Enraged, SYNOPSIS' usually adorable eyes turned blood red. Merely killing a few weaklings couldn't quell its fury. Under the onslaught of rage, SYNOPSIS had lost its mind. At this moment, the only one who could stop it was its owner, Misty. However, Misty's hands and feet were bound, and her mouth was gagged, making it impossible to issue any commands. Just as SYNOPSIS' anger had nowhere to go, a yellow rat appeared before it. Normally, SYNOPSIS would recognize it. But at this moment, blinded by rage, SYNOPSIS couldn't remember who it was. All SYNOPSIS wanted to do was steer this yellow rat that dared to stand before it to shreds. Acting on impulse, the simple-minded SYNOPSIS didn't consider many factors. Without hesitation, a tangible psychic attack shot out, striking the yellow rat fiercely. Pikachu, what the hell? You stupid duck, are you crazy? I'm your boss. I'm Pikachu. Seeing that Pikachu had attacked him without saying a word, Mu Chen was immediately shocked. This idiot, has someone broken his head? How dare he attack me? Unfortunately, although Mu Chen shouted loudly, Pikachu didn't care what he said. Boss? What's a boss? Can you eat him? Is he delicious? This duck can't remember. Pikachu, damn it. Are you serious? Mu Chen thought that if he explained to the stupid duck, it would understand. But unexpectedly, as soon as he finished speaking, Pikachu's psychic power blasted up. Caught off guard, Mu Chen was immediately enveloped by psychic power and firmly controlled in midair. Once again unable to move, Mu Chen was furious. This stupid duck, does it really think I'm some kind of trash? Woof. Woof. SYNOPSIS' head was spinning, Mu Chen was furious, and at this moment, Xiaoxia was so anxious that tears streamed down her face. The scene of SYNOPSIS killing those trainers was still vivid in her mind. Now, seeing this stupid duck actually attacking Pikachu, how could Xiaoxia not be anxious? Unfortunately, with her mouth gagged, Xiaoxia could only make wolf sounds. At this moment, the anxious Xiaoxia was constantly twisting and turning, even her hands were worn raw by the ground. The reason Xiaoxia did this was naturally to try to break the ropes binding her so she could stop this idiot SYNOPSIS. However, Xiaoxia didn't even need to stop the idiot SYNOPSIS. Mu Chen, who was being controlled in midair, exploded. Pika Pika, damn stupid duck, today I'll show you who's the boss. Although SYNOPSIS' psychic power was terrifying, Mu Chen, who had been controlled by this thing many times before, already had a way to deal with it. As long as one's electric energy reaches a certain level, one can break through the control of psychic power. At this moment, quite some time had passed since the previous battle of throwing electric balls, and Mu Chen's charge skill cooldown had naturally returned. With charge restored, Mu Chen, who was controlled in midair, used it without hesitation. Zzzzz. As electricity began to leap across Mu Chen's cheeks, SYNOPSIS' control over him gradually weakened. Cool, right. Seeing its opponent showing signs of breaking free, SYNOPSIS let out an angry cry. My psychic power has never been broken before. No doubt, since this level of psychic power can't control you, then let's increase it. However, Just as SYNOPSIS was preparing to further increase its psychic output to completely control Mu Chen made his move first. Pikachu, with his body controlled. The electric ball move was naturally inconvenient to use. However, Thunderbolt was not hindered in any way. After charging, Mu Chen showed no mercy, unleashing a super 100,000 volt from SYNOPSIS' cheeks. Boom! With a deafening roar, SYNOPSIS' psychic energy dissipated into the air. Sizzle, however, while SYNOPSIS' psychic energy vanished, Mu Chen's super 100,000 volt remained. Breaking free from the psychic's restraints, the 100,000 volt, like a ferocious beast released from its cage, hurtled towards SYNOPSIS. Cool, right, while SYNOPSIS' strength might increase dramatically when its head aches, its intelligence doesn't keep pace. Faced with the incoming super 100,000 volt, SYNOPSIS' first thought wasn't to dodge or defend, but rather to fill its eyes with curiosity, as if trying to understand the composition of the 100,000 volts energy. Boom! With SYNOPSIS neither dodging nor blocking, the 100,000 volt naturally wouldn't miss. Cool, right, the electric current entered its body, and SYNOPSIS finally understood what this golden current was all about. Intense pain instantly spread throughout SYNOPSIS' entire body. If it weren't for the terrifying psychic power protecting it, SYNOPSIS would have been severely injured, if not killed. Pikachu! Pikachu, stupid duck, let's see if you can still pretend with me. Seeing SYNOPSIS only writhing in pain after being hit by his super 100,000 volt, Mu Chen was genuinely surprised. This thing's type seems to be water, right? Damn. Double super effectiveness, and it only made this thing feel pain? This resilience, are you sure it's SYNOPSIS? Of course, Mu Chen wouldn't show his panic. 100,000 volt wasn't enough, so he'd use another. At this moment, Mu Chen had broken free of psychic control, and his choice was naturally an electric ball with even greater power than 100,000 volt. Without any hesitation, with the aid of high-speed movement, a flash of electricity activated. Leaping into the air, Mu Chen delivered a graceful tail whip to the still-running SYNOPSIS. Crackling sound, although the lack of charging prevented the electric ball from turning black, its power was still considerable. Cool, right, a scream rang out again. After being hit by the electric ball, SYNOPSIS finally stopped running around and lay on the spot convulsing. Pikachu Pikachu, HMPH. Now it knows who's in charge? Looking at the convulsing SYNOPSIS, Mu Chen struck a smug pose. Damn it, so what if you can take a beating? Not being smart enough is your biggest weakness. After taking down SYNOPSIS, Mu Chen immediately ran towards Misty, whose pretty face was already soaked with tears. My dear. You worried me to death. Although Mu Chen was already certain that Misty was safe when he saw SYNOPSIS. However, after successfully defeating SYNOPSIS and seeing Misty behind it, Mu Chen finally felt relieved. Chapter 303 Black? White? Hidden Mission? What? Pikachu. I thought I'd never see you again. With her hands and feet freed, Xiaoxia, ignoring her scratched hands, immediately hugged Mu Chen tightly. Pika Pika, don't cry, your crying breaks my heart. Looking at the weeping Xiaoxia, Mu Chen felt an indescribable sense of self-reproach. If he hadn't been driven by curiosity, he wouldn't have left Xiaoxia's room, and naturally, none of this would have happened. Damn it. Team Rocket, you just wait. After I help that idiot Ash win the championship, I'll definitely take you down. At this moment, Mu Chen still believed that Team Rocket was responsible for all of this. After all, since he came to this world, the villains had always been those guys from Team Rocket. The others, Mu Chen felt, were alright. In fact, this world, on the surface, seemed quite harmonious. Just as Mu Chen was secretly convinced of Team Rocket's potential, the system, as if deliberately causing trouble, suddenly emitted a cold electronic voice in his mind. Ding ding, congratulations host for successfully activating the hidden mission. Young man, congratulations. After nearly a year in this world, you have finally grown. This time, you have passed the test of desire and successfully recognized your true self. However, this is only the beginning. Now, go and see the true nature of this world, and uncover the truth hidden in the black fog. Mission requirements: find the real mastermind. Mission reward: unknown. Failure penalty: unknown. Young man, here's a final hint: black is not necessarily black. White is not necessarily white. What? What's going on? Just as Mu Chen was secretly vowing to find an opportunity to defeat Team Rocket, he suddenly received a system mission. Originally, Mu Chen thought this system mission wouldn't appear before the end of the league tournament. But unexpectedly, this time, it wasn't a random mission, but some kind of hidden mission. Hidden quests, that sounds way more sophisticated than random quests. But what the hell is this system talking about? The essence of the world? The truth hidden in the black mist? What does that even mean? And at final hint, what's with this black isn't black, white isn't white thing? Are you kidding me? Or, this attack wasn't Team Rocket. Suddenly, a thought flashed through Mu Chen's mind. Holy crap! If it wasn't Team Rocket, then who was it? If it's black, then it's Team Rocket. So who's white? The League? Or someone in the League? Mu Chen sadly realized that he seemed to have been dragged into some kind of vortex again. Mu Chen was actually very unwilling to be in this situation. Mu Chen, deep down, was still that loser otaku. For him, the greatest happiness was nothing more than a wife, kids, and a warm bed. Although he didn't have a wife yet, he did have several sparring partners. Moreover, Xia Oxia had long been considered by Mu Chen as his future wife. However, the sudden attacks, the unexpected appearance of enemies, and the sudden system missions all reminded Mu Chen that he still had a long way to go to achieve his dream of a peaceful life. While Mu Chen and Xia Oxia were reunited and comforting each other, the League's higher-ups were embroiled in a heated argument. Those Team Rocket guys are too arrogant. No, we must completely wipe them out. Meanwhile, the midnight explosion had been investigated. Based on reports from the patrol personnel, the League's higher-ups, including the Elite Four, knew the general outline of the incident. In the dead of night, on the outskirts of a town where the League's defenses were somewhat weak, a battle between Pokémon had recently taken place. The search of the scene revealed numerous shattered fragments of corpses. Based on the traces in these fragments, it was naturally deduced that the incident was deliberate. Furthermore, based on energy analysis at the scene, the League had determined the approximate identities of the two sides involved. Those blown to pieces and perished were none other than the notorious Team Rocket. And the culprit behind this massive explosion was none other than the Pikachu they had previously noticed. The outcome was unbelievable. A Pikachu could cause such devastation? Even if its black Electro Ball was incredibly powerful, it shouldn't have caused this much damage, right? However, subsequent investigations revealed the truth. This Pikachu hadn't just used one black Electro Ball. After that, it went berserk, unleashing dozens of regular Electro Balls in succession. The successive detonations of these dozens of Electro Balls ultimately created the terrifying missile bomb effect. The higher-ups in the League were naturally shocked by this result. However, amidst the shock, they each had their own calculations. Shiba, a proponent of war, naturally hoped to use this opportunity to wipe out Team Rocket in one fell swoop. Shiba had long harbored a grudge against these damned bugs. No. Our league tournament is currently underway. How can we let this distract us? If we mobilize a large number of personnel to attack Team Rocket now, we'll only be playing into their hands. What if Team Rocket attacks the tournament venue? Moreover, this incident isn't just about Team Rocket. That Pikachu is also a major problem. Last time it killed Parasect, which could be considered an accident. This time? It attacked people within the town, killing so many humans and Pokémon. I propose that this murderous Pokémon be arrested immediately. Unlike the impulsive Shiba, the composed Lorelei had a different opinion. Regardless of whether Team Rocket caused this incident, ensuring the league tournament proceeds smoothly is the most important thing for the league. Furthermore, Lorelei believes that Pikachu is also a serious problem. Such a murderous Pokémon shouldn't be allowed to remain in the public eye. This dangerous entity, like a ticking time bomb, must be firmly controlled by the league to ensure public safety. After all, the destructive power that Pikachu could cause was truly terrifying. And this was just on the outskirts of a sparsely populated town. What if it were in a densely populated area? The consequences were simply unimaginable. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 304 Kakuko's Plans. Alright. Stop arguing. It hasn't been confirmed whether Team Rocket was responsible. And based on the scene, that Pikachu was just putting up a fight. Lorelei, your opinion is a bit too hasty. And you, Shiba, don't be so impulsive. Lorelai is right about one thing. The league tournament is the most important thing right now. Whether Team Rocket was responsible or not, we should wait until after the league tournament to talk about it. Seeing Lorelai and Sheba starting to argue because of their differing opinions, Lance, the strongest Elite Four member of the league, stepped forward. Watery is right. That Pikachu was a bit bloodthirsty, but it was because an enemy attacked it first. Personally, I think we should just have someone monitor it. If that Pikachu is this brutal towards ordinary people, then we can arrest it. As for Team Rocket, in my opinion, this incident is undoubtedly their doing, even without investigation. In our Kanto region, besides Team Rocket, I doubt any other organization dares to oppose our league. However, I don't think we need to rush this. After the league tournament, we'll have plenty of ways to deal with Team Rocket. Kikuko wasn't concerned about Sheba's suggestion to take action against Team Rocket. Even if they did, they couldn't wipe them out directly. Team Rocket had been around for decades. In those decades, countless Elite Four members had come and gone in Kanto, while Team Rocket had only grown stronger. Wiping them out? Easier said than done. Besides, while others might not know the truth, Kikuko certainly did. All of this was Kikuko's doing. Through her Jengar, Akiko had learned what had happened. That Pikachu had truly shocked her. Akiko had assumed that with her Elite Four level Jengar, defeating Pikachu would be a sure thing. But to her surprise, her Jengar told her it was no match. This was truly unbelievable to Akiko. Jengar was an Elite Four level Pokémon, a powerful Pokémon that had survived for countless years. How could it be no match for a Pikachu, a newborn Pokémon that had only been trained for less than a year? How could this be? However, Jengar's defeat explained everything. When Akiko learned from Jengar that Pikachu's electric ball attack in the league was actually a hidden power, she was completely swayed. If before she had only held a casual attitude, now she was determined to get Pikachu. A mere baby Pikachu is already this powerful. With proper training, it might even surpass the Elite Four level and become a true legendary Pokémon. In Akiko's eyes, legendary Pokémon aren't just rare creatures like Zapdos. While those are rare and called legendary, their combat power is rather underwhelming. In Akiko's view, a true legendary Pokémon is one that becomes a supreme being, wielding the strongest power of its type. That's what makes it a legendary Pokémon. This Pikachu showed Akiko the potential to become a supreme electric-type legendary Pokémon. That's why Akiko chose to support Lance's relatively conservative opinion. Arrest Pikachu now? Absolutely not. If Pikachu were arrested and controlled by the League, Akiko would lose the ability to capture it. Under the noses of the others, Akiko wouldn't dare act so recklessly. Therefore, Akiko's goal was to suppress this matter. As long as this matter was suppressed and gradually faded away, she could wait for another opportunity. This time, Kikuko was careless and didn't make sufficient preparations. But next time, Kikuko has decided that after this matter has completely faded away, she will personally take action to capture this Pikachu with unlimited potential. Mu Chen, of course, is unaware of everything that happened within the League. At this moment, Mu Chen is accompanying Misty to change accommodations. Previously, Misty chose to stay at a guest house on the outskirts of town for peace and quiet. However, after this incident, Misty certainly wouldn't stubbornly choose that place again. It's safer to be closer to densely populated areas. Whether it's Team Rocket or anyone else, they don't have the courage to directly attack in densely populated areas. The League's guards and Officer Jenny scattered throughout the area are not to be underestimated. Moreover, as the League tournament progresses, the Elite Four, the highest-ranking members of the League, have also made their appearances one after another. Under the powerful deterrent of the Elite Four, any villains can only hide in the shadows. Pikachu, is Psyduck alright? Having arrived at their new resting spot and settled in, Aksha finally remembered the Psyduck she had captured in its Pokeball. This time, Psyduck seemed to have been electrocuted quite badly. Because of a lapse in judgment, it took the initiative to attack and was thoroughly thrashed by Mu Chen. Aksha hadn't thought of it before in her panic. Now, having calmed down again, Aksha finally remembered the silly duck that had been electrocuted and was convulsing. Regardless, this silly duck had saved her life, and it hadn't harmed Pikachu at all. How could Aksha not worry? Pikachu, alright? Of course it's alright. That damn silly duck is incredibly resistant to electricity. I'm envious. Hearing Aksha's question, Mu Chen decisively rolled his eyes. Mu Chen used to look down on this guy too, But after these battles, he realized, it seems, damn it, I'm not the protagonist at all. This stupid duck is the real hidden mastermind. Aside from its questionable intelligence, everything else about it is incredibly enviable. In fact, Mu Chen often wondered if it also had a system attached to it. Otherwise, how could it be so awesome? Cool, right? Just as Mu Chen was pondering whether this stupid duck also had a system, Xiaoxia had already summoned it. After being electrocuted so badly by Pikachu, she had to check its injuries, right? As soon as Psyduck was summoned, something happened that stunned Xiaoxia and Mu Chen. This thing really got electrocuted? It really got a good beating? Looking at the completely healed Psyduck, Xiaoxia and Mu Chen's mouths were practically agape. This is unbelievable. Just when the two were in disbelief, even thinking it was all an illusion, Psyduck's behavior finally proved them right. Seeing Psyduck wagging its tail and fawning over him, Mu Chen knew that this guy hadn't forgotten the painful experience of being beaten up by him before. But damn it. System, you bastard, come out here. This stupid duck, does it really not have a system? Chapter 305 The Match in Progress. I choose you, Miss Skirt. Ash was completely unaware of what was happening on the sidelines. At this moment, Ash had already stepped onto the competition stage once again. Since this battle was on a grass-type terrain, Ash's first choice was naturally Miss Skirt, a grass-type Pokémon. With Pikachu suspended, Ash had completely let loose. Whether it was for his championship dream or his promise to Pikachu, Ash was determined to win until he stood on the stage of the top 16, until Pikachu could return. Miss Skirt? I really envy you, to be able to obtain such a Pokémon in the Kanto region. However, simply cherishing it isn't enough. Now, watch me. Go, my partner, Charmeleon. The winner of this battle would secure a spot on the top 32, and Ash's opponent would naturally not be like those he encountered at the beginning, who were merely there for the experience. This time, Ash's opponent was also a league trainer with all 3 starter Pokémon. Seeing Ash summon his Charmeleon, it would be a lie to say this trainer wasn't envious. In the Kanto region, encountering such a Pokémon in the wild is practically impossible. Roar, with a trainer's summoning, a Charmeleon over a meter tall and with a robust build appeared on the field. Charmeleon? Charmeleon, use Leech Seed, for a grass-type Pokémon to defeat a fire-type opponent that completely counters it. Ash's only option is Leech Seed. If this move hits, Charmeleon's HP will be continuously depleted. With this ebb and flow, Charmeleon, receiving a constant replenishment of HP, can wear down its opponent without being instantly defeated. Charmeleon, use Flamethrower. Burn its seed. This trainer clearly understood the power of Leech Seed. Seeing Ash's move, the trainer decisively launched a counterattack. Pikachu, do you think Ash will win this match? Ash was engaged in a fierce battle, while Mu Chen and Xiaoxia naturally watched from the sidelines. At this moment, Xiaoxia and Mu Chen were clearly more nervous than Ash himself. Seeing his opponent counter him in the very first battle, Xiaoxia could only ask her Pikachu. Others might think it was silly for Xiaoxia to ask a Pokémon such a question. But only Xiaoxia knew how terrifying and intelligent this seemingly harmless Pikachu was. Pika, calm down. Learn to calm down. This is nothing. It's only the first match. Miss Skirt, though strong-willed, isn't that strong. Frankly, even Pidgeotto is more reliable in battle. That's why Mu Chen wasn't worried at all about this match. Ash, though a bit slow, had developed a decent battle awareness through a year of travel and constant training. Against this guy whose starter Pokémon hadn't even evolved into Charizard, it was a piece of cake. Of course, only Mu Chen could remain so calm at this moment. To most of the spectators on the sidelines, the Charizard trainer still had a great chance of winning this match. This was Charizard, the starter Pokémon known for its ferocious attack power. However, the scene at this moment was indeed as most spectators had predicted. Roar, with a roar, Charizard spewed flames, which fiercely struck Miss Skirt. At this moment, Miss Skirt was completely suppressed. Although Miss Skirt had a slight advantage in base stats, she was completely at a disadvantage in terms of type. No matter what move Miss Skirt used, it was just a mindless fire breath. In this situation, not only Miss Skirt, but even Ash was helpless. Damn it. Miss Skirt. You've had a hard time. Next up, Taurus, with Pikachu suspended, the league certainly wouldn't allow Ash to participate with only 5 Pokémon. To fill the void left by Pikachu, Ash temporarily transferred a Taurus from Professor Oak via computer. According to Professor Oak, this Taurus was the leader of its pack and possessed considerable fighting power. This was Ash's first time summoning it. Although Ash had personally captured the Taurus, he hadn't trained it at all, so he didn't have high hopes for it. However, Ash was quickly shocked. Taurus? Charmeleon, keep using flamethrower, don't let it charge. Taurus, being a normal type Pokemon, only has its most powerful attack being its charge attack. To prevent it from charging, the trainer chose to strike first. However, Taurus didn't realize that its preemptive attack had ignited a powder keg. Seeing the fiery red Charmeleon already made Taurus somewhat restless. Now, the opponent had unleashed a scorching flame. The color of the flames was also fiery red. Seeing the approaching flames, Taurus instantly erupted. Without waiting for Ash's command, it slammed its head down, kicked its hooves, and charged forward at breakneck speed. Moo! A deep moo came from Taurus's mouth. Immediately, the ground trembled, and Taurus's charge grew faster and faster. Ha ha ha! This bull, charging straight at the flames, does it really want to become roast meat that quickly? Seeing Taurus's mindless charge, the spectators on the sidelines burst into laughter. This kind of brainless Pokemon truly only deserves to be a delicious meal. However, their laughter soon faded. A wisp of air enveloped Taurus as it charged, and upon encountering the flames, it actually withstood the attack thanks to the protection of this airflow. Of course, it was also because Charmeleon's attack power was insufficient. However, it was still shocking enough. Roar! Taurus's sudden attack caught Charmeleon completely off guard. In close combat, how could Charmeleon's physique possibly withstand Taurus's? With just one charge attack, Charmeleon was gloriously defeated. Awesome, Taurus, having won without even needing to command? Ash was immediately excited. This feeling of winning without lifting a finger is truly wonderful. Chapter 306 The Calm Before the Storm. Let's congratulate the winner of this match, Ash Ketchum, the trainer from Pallet Town. Amidst the enthusiastic shouts of the tournament announcer, Ash skipped off the stage. This match was far easier than Ash had anticipated. Because it was a crucial battle for a spot on the top 32, Ash had made extensive preparations beforehand. But unexpectedly, Taurus, that goofy little devil, became the surprise weapon. After defeating Charmeleon, it used its charge attack to knock down 4 more of the trainer's Pokemon. It wasn't until the trainer sent out its last Pokemon, Cloyster, that Taurus was forced to leave the stage due to exhaustion. With only Cloyster remaining, Ash easily defeated it with Melodic. Thus, Ash secured his ticket to the top 32 of the Pokemon League. Ha ha ha! Pikachu! If I win tomorrow's match, we can fight side by side again. Ash wasn't stupid, he recognized Pikachu's powerful electric ball attack earlier. Ash also figured it out, if Pikachu could participate, practically no one could stop him from winning the league championship. How could Ash not be excited at the thought of the championship within reach? Congratulations, Ash. Good luck in the next match too. That little Pikachu has been itching to play these past few days. Ash was excited, and so was Misty. While having Pikachu by her side ensured her safety, Misty felt utterly insecure about her personal safety. The midnight battle had completely terrified her. And after being frightened, she naturally chose to let Pikachu sleep with her. Although the little rascal hadn't actually done anything to her, he'd taken advantage of her quite a bit during the night while she slept. Thinking about this little rascal constantly taking advantage of her, Misty was furious. Now, Ash is finally close to entering the top 16, and Misty can finally see a glimmer of hope. Pikachu, what the hell? Misty, what's going on? Are you using me and then kicking me to the curb? Seeing that Misty was even happier than Ash, Mu Chen couldn't help but guess the reason. What the hell? I risked my life to protect you. I even gave up that beautiful ninja girl who offered herself to me for you. It was just a touch and a kiss. Is it really that big of a deal? Happy times are always so short. Mu Chen also knew that his peaceful days probably wouldn't last much longer. As the league tournament progressed, he would finally say goodbye to this marginal observer status. However, what Mu Chen cared about most at the moment was the suddenly appearing hidden mission. What is black? What is white? Mu Chen had thought about this a lot these past few days. Unfortunately, without any clues, Mu Chen could only remain clueless. However, what Mu Chen didn't know was that the so-called white was about to become impatient. Ash has reached the top 16, attracting attention not only from Misty but also from the league's top brass. While many promising young players have emerged in this year's league tournament, in the eyes of these leaders, Ash is currently the only one truly capable of competing for the championship. His Pikachu, for example, is simply unstoppable. Its ability to unleash a full-force attack from a champion-level Pokémon speaks volumes. Therefore, countless eyes within the league are watching Ash's match closely. Have you thoroughly investigated Misty's daily activities? Are you sure? Will she go to the city center today, inside a tall tower? Agatha stared grimly at the footage on the monitor. On the monitor in front of Agatha, Ash and Misty were celebrating their victory in the match. Lady Kiku, I can confirm with absolute certainty that, based on Zylox's activity patterns, she will definitely head to the city center before nightfall tonight. Kiku was able to give such a confident answer because the spy specifically tasked with tracking Zylox knew that she would always go to the city center to buy dinner before nightfall. Although the time was short, this was Kiku's only chance to strike. Tomorrow, after Ash secures a spot on the top 16, the Pikachu will return to him. Then, facing Ash in the contestant area, Kiku wouldn't have many opportunities to attack. As for why she didn't wait until after the league tournament? No way. Once Ash becomes a public figure, once the Pikachu's fame resounds throughout the league, would Kiku dare to make a move? Countless eyes would be watching. If she dared to act, she would be defying the world. It was precisely for this reason that Kiku was so impatient at this moment. The best time to act is when Ash's reputation is still low and few people know about Pikachu's strength and potential. As for whether the other Elite Four members will question this, what is Team Rocket for? They're used to being scapegoats. Anyway, after a few years, when this matter fades away, who will recognize that this Pikachu evolved into Raichu? It's the same Pikachu that was kidnapped by Team Rocket back then. Every year, too many promising Pokémon are kidnapped by Team Rocket. The league's higher-ups are used to it and don't find it strange. However, Agatha was unaware that while she was preparing to act, another force was also at work. Are you sure? If I help you successfully capture that Pikachu, you'll support me becoming the Elite Four member of the Johto region. In a dark space, a ninja with his face covered was asking the person in front of him. Don't worry, I'm the champion of the Chengdu region, and I have some influence there. Besides, even without that champion title, don't you trust my strength? As long as you can catch that Pikachu for me, I'll definitely guarantee you become the champion of the Chengdu region. And you don't need to worry about Team Rocket either. Even if Giovanni himself takes action, I'll protect you. The person standing opposite the ninja exuded an aura of power as he replied. Chapter 307 The Space of Deception. Stop. You despicable thief. Stop right there. In the bustling city, a girl carrying a Pikachu was frantically chasing a boy. This girl was Xia. Xia had originally planned to buy some food for dinner with Pikachu and then return to her guest house. However, she hadn't expected to encounter such an unexpected situation. Just as she turned a corner, a boy rammed into her. Accidents are common in crowds. Neither Xia nor Mu Chen was prepared for this. But the boy who bumped into Xia took the opportunity to steal her wallet. This was a disaster. Without her wallet, she couldn't afford dinner or even her rented guest house. In a panic, Xia disregarded everything else and chased after the fleeing boy. Pika Pika, Mu Chen was at a loss in this situation. The crowd was too dense, he couldn't use his skills here, as that would only result in collateral damage. As for leaving Zyloxia to chase after the thief alone? Although Mu Chen could easily catch the thief at his speed, he didn't dare. After the previous incident and the hidden mission given by the system, Mu Chen really didn't dare to easily try leaving Zyloxia. Moreover, this suddenly appearing thief seemed abnormal to Mu Chen. Everything had been fine for the past few days, so why did this accident happen so close to Zyloxia's top 16? Accidents often have some inevitable connection. Therefore, Mu Chen's current choice was to stay with Zyloxia. Whether he was overthinking it or someone was deliberately plotting against him, at least with his protection, Zyloxia wouldn't encounter any danger. However, Mu Chen soon realized that his caution was correct. You despicable thief. How dare you steal my wallet? After a frantic chase, Zyloxia finally caught up with the thief who had stolen her wallet in the open fields outside the town. However, to Zyloxia's surprise, the thief, just before being caught, dropped the wallet and sped away. Watching the rapidly disappearing figure, Zyloxia was stunned. What was going on? What kind of ghostly speed was that? If he had run like that, How could I have caught up? Hetty, don't be surprised, little girl. That guy wasn't trying to steal your wallet, he was just ordered to lure you here. Now, there's a deal, little girl, would you be interested in hearing it? Just as Xiaoxia was staring blankly at the disappearing figure, a cold voice suddenly came from the shadows. Immediately, a masked man completely hidden in a black cloak appeared in front of Xiaoxia. Pikachu, damn it. Just as I thought. Damn, I knew it. Seeing the masked man appear, Mu Chen immediately prepared for battle. Obviously, this was the mastermind the system had mentioned. Who are you? What do you want? Seeing the suddenly appearing masked man, Xiaoxia also immediately took defensive action. Based on her experience a few days ago, she knew that this person who suddenly appeared was definitely up to no good. Hey, little girl, why be so wary? My deal is simple. Leave this Pikachu behind, and I won't kill you. This masked man was none other than Akiko, who was completely smitten with Pikachu. Because of her previous failure, Akiko chose to take matters into her own hands this time to ensure success. At this moment, Misty had already been taken out of town, and Akiko had specially arranged some activities in the bustling city to attract the attention of the public. A battle breaking out here wouldn't attract anyone's attention for a short time. Damn it. You despicable Team Rocket. I will not hand over Pikachu to you. In Misty's eyes, the ones capable of such evil deeds were naturally Team Rocket. There was no way around it. After years of brainwashing by the League, Team Rocket was truly capable of any evil. Moreover, Team Rocket had attacked Ash and Misty more than once during the previous journey, so it wasn't surprising that Misty could make this judgment. Pika, while Misty might think that the masked man who suddenly appeared was Team Rocket, Mu Chen didn't think so. With a system notification, Mu Chen knew that this sneaky guy was most likely a member of the League. At this moment, to solve the problem once and for all, Mu Chen didn't hesitate. With a powerful push from his hind legs, Mu Chen leaped directly out of Xiaoxia's arms. Zzz, electricity surged, and Mu Chen immediately activated his charging mode. Damn it, whoever you are, I'll electrocute you. HMPH. Little thing, do you think you're my match? Come out, Jengar. Seeing Pikachu assume a battle stance, Akiko didn't hesitate to summon her main Pokémon, the Elite 4-level Jengar. Ehe. Little mouse, we meet again. This Jengar was the same one that had attacked Mu Chen before. Last time, it was scared away by Mu Chen's terrifying electric ball. But today, with its master backing it up, Jengar showed no fear against Mu Chen. Pika, damn. Just as expected. I wasn't wrong. Seeing the Jengar appear, Mu Chen was even more certain of his judgment. That's right. This guy must be the mastermind. Wearing a mask, huh? Wait till I electrocute you, I'll see who you really are. Jengar. Use Trick Room, let's have some fun with this little thing. After Jengar's description of her last encounter, Akiko knew that this Pikachu was incredibly fast. If it could increase its speed and then unleash that black electric ball, even Akiko would have a hard time dealing with it. Therefore, to ensure victory in this battle, Akiko had prepared in advance. And her preparation was Jengar's move, Trick Room. Although this move has no offensive power, it can change the speed of Pokémon within a certain space. The faster the Pokémon, the slower it becomes. Conversely, the slower the Pokémon, the faster it becomes. Although Jengar is also a Pokémon known for its speed, this move is the most effective counter to this incredibly fast Pikachu. Without speed, what power is your electric ball? Hehe. Little mouse, experience the terror of deception. At Agatha's command, Jengar immediately spread its arms. Then, streams of psychic-type energy erupted from its arms, instantly covering the entire open field. Pikachu, what the hell? It can do that? Having just activated hypersonic movement, Mu Chen suddenly noticed a change in space. What the hell? Why is my speed so slow? Feeling as if he was moving in slow motion, Mu Chen panicked. Chapter 308 Is 100,000 volts this fierce? Jengar, use Shadow Ball. Bombarded, under the effect of Trick Room, the Pikachu's speed plummeted. Seeing Pikachu lose its ghostly speed, Akiko, behind her mask, smirked coldly. HMPH. Little thing, without speed, let's see what advantage you have left? Through observing the video, Akiko had made a rough assessment of this Pikachu. Although its electric-type moves were incredibly powerful, its most formidable was the electric ball. Without the speed boost, the electric ball couldn't unleash its full power, instantly reducing Pikachu's threat by more than half. In terms of overall strength, Jengar was far superior to Pikachu. Therefore, Akiko held nothing back, unleashing Jengar's most ferocious attack. Shadow Ball was already a very powerful move among Ghost-type special attacks. And when Jengar used it, its power was astonishing. Normally, a Pokémon only uses one move at a time. But this Jengar was different. It used Shadow Balls, firing two at once, and could continue firing rapidly afterward. Like a Gatling gun, Jengar launched a ferocious attack on the slowly moving Pikachu. Pikachu! Watch out! Seeing Jengar launch such a fierce attack, Xiaoxia, who was retreating, was immediately shocked. Was the enemy really that strong? Although Xiaoxia didn't understand the mechanics of this Trick Room move, seeing Pikachu's greatly reduced speed, she guessed something. Clearly, this masked person had planned this against Pikachu and made targeted arrangements. Thinking of this, Xiaoxia didn't hesitate. She stretched out her hand and directly took out Psyduck's Pokeball. After some time training, Xiaoxia had completely figured it out. As long as Psyduck was there, she couldn't summon any other Pokemon to join the battle. This guy could become Starmie, and he could also become Goldeen. Pikachu, holy crap. What kind of pathetic skill is this? With his speed restricted, Mu Chen, who had never experienced anything like this before, was completely flustered. Facing the oncoming Shadow Ball, Mu Chen couldn't even dodge. Damn it. I refuse to believe my quick attack was slowed down. Running was definitely not an option to avoid it. Helpless, Mu Chen could only hope for the displacement effect of quick attack. Boom. 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 Just as Mu Chen activated quick attack, Jengar's Shadow Ball followed. Pikachu, ouch! Relying on the displacement of quick attack, Mu Chen avoided the Shadow Ball's direct impact. However, due to the effect of Trick Room, even quick attack speed was slower than usual. Mu Chen, who barely avoided the attack, still got a hard hit in the butt. Feeling a burning sensation on his precious buttocks, Mu Chen was instantly enraged. Damn it! Aside from being messed with by that idiot Pidgeotto when I first arrived, my butt hasn't been injured since. You piece of trash, how dare you hit my vitals? Enraged, Mu Chen abandoned his plan to dodge. Damn it, you think I only have speed? Even without speed, I'll still electrocute you, zzzzz. Without any hesitation, the charging he had been preparing was instantly amplified by the current in Mu Chen's cheeks. HMPH. No electric ball? I still have 100,000 volts. As the current shot out from Mu Chen's cheeks, a terrifying current as thick as an adult's arm converged in front of him, slamming fiercely into Jengar. Holy crap! That's fierce, since obtaining the full 5% boost from the Mu gene. Mu Chen had been channeling all his charging power into electric balls. Seeing the effect of the Thunderbolt, Mu Chen suddenly realized, damn, this 5% boost seems quite effective for me too. The previous Thunderbolt wasn't nearly this powerful. The counterattack was too sudden. Jengar was caught off guard and hit hard. Even with Jengar's Elite 4 level physique, it still screamed in pain. I underestimated you. Come out, Jengar. Seeing that Pikachu's Thunderbolt also possessed such power, Akiko was slightly taken aback. This Pikachu has such strong special attack capabilities. Previously, Akiko only thought that this Pikachu's superior speed allowed it to unleash such a terrifying electric ball. But now it seems that this Pikachu's special attack capabilities are also incredibly terrifying. Just looking at the thickness of the current, even its evolved form, Raichu, couldn't use it. Realizing she had underestimated Pikachu's strength, Kiku didn't hesitate and immediately summoned two more Jengar. Pikachu, what the hell? Can't we just have some fun? One Jengar was already difficult for Mu Chen to handle, and now two more suddenly appeared. Mu Chen panicked. Even if these two weren't as strong as the first one, they were still definitely not easy to deal with. Without his speed advantage, Mu Chen really didn't have the confidence to fight three at once. Pikachu, I'll help you. Go, Psyduck, Misty, of course, wouldn't watch Pikachu be surrounded. Without any hesitation, Misty threw out the Pokeball she had already held in her hand. Cool, right, it still had that cute cry, still had that cute appearance. Upon its appearance, Psyduck once again fell into contemplation of its own life values. Hey, little girl, is this your Pokemon? I advise you to leave now. If you retreat now, I won't make things difficult for you. Seeing that Misty had summoned such a silly thing to join the battle, Akiko couldn't help but laugh. This is pretty much the situation for an ordinary trainer, right? Perhaps in a normal battle, this little girl could be of some help to Pikachu. But in a battle against her, the Ghost-type Elite Four member Akiko, this little girl wasn't even qualified to be cannon fodder. HMPH. Don't underestimate me. Psychic. Use Psychic. Misty knew Psychic's strength, of course. Even if this masked man was powerful, Psychic could at least withstand a Jengar for Pikachu. Misty had no doubt about this. However, cool, right, Psychic? What's that? Lost in thought, Psychic had obviously forgotten how to use Psychic again. Of course, it wouldn't completely ignore Misty's command. Having forgotten how to use Psychic, Psychic twisted its rear end and charged at Jengar. Psychic? Does it mean I have to charge at it and crash into it? Chapter 309. A solution has been found. What the hell is that? Pikachu. At this moment, whether it was Akiko, her Jengar, or even Mu Chen, everyone was shocked. Holy crap. What's going on? Is it an electric motor? Looking at Psychic, which was like a high-speed train, Mu Chen fell into self-doubt. This is too much, isn't it? This speed? Even if I activated hypersonic speed, I wouldn't be able to do this much, right? Is this still that stupid duck? However, Psychic, that idiot, quickly demonstrated that speed alone is meaningless. Cool, right, after a sudden charge, Psychic originally planned that its collision would at least give the dark, murky thing a hard time, right? But it never expected that its opponent was a ghost-type Pokémon, a spirit that could turn into nothingness. Facing Psychic charging with its physical body as a weapon, one of Akiko's Jengar didn't even bother to retaliate. Simply by making its body intangible, Psychic, that idiot, charged straight through Jengar's body. Not hitting its opponent wasn't a problem. However, Psychic couldn't stop itself. When had this goofball ever experienced such lightning speed? Suddenly gaining increased speed, Psychic couldn't effectively control its uncoordinated body. Charging forward, Psychic quickly disappeared from everyone's sight. Hey, little girl, I advise you to hurry up and chase after your duck. Seeing the comical Psychic, even Akiko, behind her mask, couldn't help but chuckle. Such an idiot is rare. Ugh. Psychic. You're going to drive me crazy. I told you to use psychic powers. Misty looked helplessly at Psychic's disappearing figure. Why did this goofball have to think of charging? Unfortunately, Psychic had already vanished without a trace, and Misty could only take out another Pokeball. Go. Starmie, use water gun. At this moment, Misty wouldn't let Pikachu face three powerful Jengar alone. Even if she couldn't defeat them, helping Pikachu stall for time would be good. Little girl, are you really looking for death? In that case, go ahead and finish this little girl off. Seeing Misty's stubbornness and refusal to give up, Akiko was furious. Did she really think this old woman wouldn't dare kill someone? I just didn't want to cause unnecessary trouble. But since you're willing to die, don't blame this old woman. With Akiko's command, a Jengar she had just summoned immediately charged towards Starmie. Pika, damn it. Seeing Akiko attack Misty, Mu Chen panicked. Mu Chen knew very well the strength of Jengar. With Misty's Starmie, there was no way she could stop it. Damn it, did she really think I couldn't do anything to you? Although the previous 100,000 volt attack was quite powerful, Mu Chen knew that relying solely on it wouldn't be enough to quickly defeat this Jengar berserker. This Jengar's level was clearly extremely high. His arm-thick 100,000 volt attack only caused the creature to scream a few times. To defeat it, he needed to use far greater power. At this moment, his options were limited. Thunder didn't require speed, but Mu Chen was hesitant to use this move, which could easily wipe him out. Besides Thunder, facing this army of Jengars, Mu Chen's only remaining option was Electric Ball, a move with the power of a bomb. But wait, what the hell? Wait a minute. Why was that duck so fast? Suddenly, Mu Chen seemed to grasp something. My own speed slowed down because I'm usually too fast. Conversely, that duck is usually incredibly slow. But now, its speed is incredibly fast. What does this mean? Trick space. Trick space. Holy crap. I get it now. Finally, Mu Chen found the problem. So that's what happened after all this time? The faster you move, the slower you become, and the slower you move, the faster you become? No wonder, high-speed movement felt like slow motion. System. Can this gene amplification be turned off? At this moment, the only thing Mu Chen needed to confirm was whether the gene-based buff could be turned off. If it was turned off, it would reduce movement speed by 20%. Even with a full set of Dreamy Gear adding 5%, it would still reduce movement speed by a full 15%. In this situation where slower movement actually resulted in faster movement, Mu Chen's goal was to minimize his speed. Beep beep, host's request can be fulfilled. Would you like to temporarily turn off gene amplification? This time the system was very helpful, and to Mu Chen's surprise, it quickly responded. Turn it off. Turn it off now, turn it all off. Knowing that this thing could indeed be temporarily turned off as he had expected, Mu Chen immediately saw hope for victory. HMPH. Trick room? Jengar? It seems Jengar's speed isn't slow either, is it? At this moment, Mu Chen had already found a way to deal with it. Jengar, use Shadow Claw to grab this little thing. Then, Ghost 2, use Shadow Ball and bombard it hard. Of course, Kikayo was unaware of Mu Chen's change. Seeing one Jengar already heading towards Misty, Kikayo lost interest in delaying any longer. One Jengar can't take you down, then two together. According to Kikayo's plan, with Pikachu's speed greatly reduced, it would inevitably be unable to dodge Jengar's Shadow Claw. As long as it could be grabbed, a barrage of Shadow Balls would surely defeat Pikachu, no matter how strong it was. However, after the two Jengar acted according to Kikayo's commands, Kikayo was stunned. How could this be? Looking at Pikachu's speed suddenly becoming incredibly fast again, Kikayo was completely dumbfounded. Yes, at this moment, Mu Chen's speed was still considerably slower than his peak speed. However, compared to the slow-moving Jengar, Pikachu's speed at this moment had reached a level akin to taking off. This was simply because Mu Chen had cancelled the gene buff and the high-speed movement state. After returning to normal, Mu Chen's base speed, while not slow, was far inferior to Jengar's extremely high-speed stat, and within this deceptive space, the slower Mu Chen's base speed, the faster his apparent speed would become, just like that silly duck. Chapter 310 Digging Your Own Grave. Pikachu, although the charge cooldown hadn't fully recovered, Mu Chen, now with increased speed, no longer felt the same pressure against the significantly slowed Jengar. Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball were useless against the Jengar, which had lost its speed advantage. A simple sidestep easily evaded a Jengar's attack. With his increased speed, Mu Chen wasn't content with just dodging. Seizing a gap in the two Jengar's attacks, he decisively launched a counterattack. Come on. You despicable cat, take this electric ball. Crackling sound, leaping high, Mu Chen unleashed an electric ball at the Jengar that had been hit by his thunderbolt. Damn it. Jengar, dodge. Pikachu's sudden increase in speed naturally surprised Akiko. How could this little thing be so fast? Wasn't it supposed to be incredibly fast? Even if this little thing lost its high speed boost, it shouldn't have changed this drastically, right? This is just not scientifically possible. Akiko swears that as a veteran Elite Four member, having experienced countless battles, she's never encountered anything like this before. Under the influence of the trick room, her normally incredibly fast Jengar is unable to utilize its speed advantage. Originally, this was a setup Akiko specifically prepared to limit Pikachu's speed, preventing it from using powerful moves like Electric Ball. But who would have thought that while her Jengar remains incredibly slow, Pikachu's speed has suddenly increased. This is truly a life-threatening situation for Akiko. Watching the crackling electric ball, cold sweat involuntarily began to trickle down Akiko's forehead. Damn it! Could it be? Could this old woman be going to lose today? The thought of this possibility is even more unbelievable for Akiko. As a veteran Elite Four member, how many years has it been since she's lost? Could she really lose today? Could they really lose to Pikachu that doesn't even have a trainer? Eohe! Just as Akiko was falling into self-doubt, a scream from Jengar suddenly rang out. Under normal circumstances, even if Jengar didn't try to block the electric ball, it could easily dodge it with its ghostly speed. However, the situation was abnormal. Its speed suddenly dropped drastically, and not only Mu Chen, but even Jengar couldn't adapt. Previously, Jengar could use its powerful special attack to suppress Pikachu, but now that the opponent had regained its speed, it was still as slow as a tortoise. In this situation, all Jengar could do was watch helplessly as the electric ball hit it, without any way to dodge or even block it. Pika, show off. Let you show off to me. I'm invincible. With one electric ball shocking the initial Jengar until it started convulsing, Mu Chen's confidence soared. Damn it, you think you can play tricks? I'm a cheat code. In the face of a cheater, all tricks are trash. With the system's help, gene amplification can be activated or deactivated at any time, and Mu Chen found that he was truly unafraid of these fancy tricks. However, while Mu Chen was unafraid, Akiko was terrified. You see, Akiko had previously mistakenly believed, due to the incorrect information provided by Jengar, that Pikachu's speed far surpassed that of her own Jengar, which was why she could use the terrifying black electric ball against Jengar as well. At that time, how could Akiko know that Mu Chen's real target was actually the Venusaur behind Jengar? Alice, one wrong step leads to another. Now that the deception space was open, Akiko had dug a pit for herself and buried it. Just as Mu Chen was preparing to prepare a second electric ball to take down another Jengar, Starmie's scream suddenly rang out. Facing the attack of a champion-level Jengar alone, Starmie was struggling to hold on, but its strength was ultimately limited. After just 2 rounds of skill clashes, Starmie was severely injured by Jengar's Shadow Ball. At this point, the creature was completely incapacitated. Jengar, grab that little girl! Starmie's sudden scream gave Agatha another chance. Pikachu's strength truly exceeded this old woman's expectations. But so what? Through her observations over this period, Agatha had learned of the deep bond between Misty and Pikachu. This Pikachu was indeed lecherous, but its lechery was only directed at this little girl. In Agatha's view, as long as she could capture this little girl and make Pikachu hesitate, there was still a chance to turn the tide. However, how could Mu Chen possibly give Agatha such an opportunity? Pikachu, trying to touch Misty? Did you ask me first? Without any hesitation, Mu Chen turned his backside and pounced on the Jengar that was charging towards Misty. Jengar! Jengar, stop it! Seeing Pikachu's actions, Kikuko became even more anxious. Clearly, this little girl was Pikachu's Achilles heel. At this moment, Kikuko's only hope was that her 2 Jengar could delay this Pikachu, buying some time for the other Jengar. Alice, Trick Room. Having dug its own grave, how could the greatly reduced speed of the Jengar possibly stop Mu Chen? Completely ignoring the 2 slowed-down Jengar, Mu Chen dodged their interception with a few swift movements. Pikachu, attacking Misty? You better stand there. Without any further ado, Mu Chen leaped high into the air and fiercely swung his tail at the Jengar. Immediately, an electric ball filled with Mu Chen's deep anger crackled and slammed into the Jengar. Eholy! This attack nearly killed the Jengar that was preparing to attack Misty. Under the bombardment of the electric ball, Jengar let out a painful roar. However, this was not the end. Zzz. Immediately following, the instant the electric ball was launched, a 100,000-volt electric jet shot out from both of Mu Chen's cheeks. To protect Xiaoxia, Mu Chen had no intention of holding back the electricity within his body. The 100,000 volts, along with the electric ball, seemed to be free, frantically hitting the convulsing Jengar. Ehohe! Under the continuous attacks, Jengar could only let out painful cries. Damn it! Jengar, come back! Jengar, hold off Pikachu! Seeing her Jengar in danger, Akiko hurriedly used a Pokeball to try to recall it. However, how could Mu Chen give her that chance? Pikachu, you think you can just attack and then retreat when you don't want to? Don't even think about it. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 311 Kikuko's Defeat. How is this possible? This wasn't the first time Kikuko had uttered such a shocked question. After seeing her Jengar, which had been attacking Misty, falter, she immediately tried to recall it to its Pokeball. But to her dismay, she failed. Pokeballs release an energy beam when recalling a Pokemon, thus pulling it back. However, Kikuko couldn't believe that this Pikachu was this intelligent. Was this even a Pokemon? Even humans probably didn't have such a quick reaction. Yes, Kikuko's plan to recall Jengar had failed. While she was recalling Jengar, Mu Chen reacted with lightning speed. With a flick of his tail, he unleashed a powerful iron tail strike towards the ground. Of course, Mu Chen wasn't doing this out of spite. His purpose was to send dirt flying. and the flying dirt conveniently blocked the energy beam emitted by Kikuko's Pokeball. With a recoil beam blocked, the Pokeball's recoil function was naturally useless. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Mu Chen unleashed several more thunderbolts, causing the injured Jengar to cry out in agony. Seeing the scene before her, Kiku was truly stunned. In her entire life, she had fought hundreds of battles, including legendary Pokémon. But when had Kiku ever encountered such a situation? A Pikachu, a Pokémon very common in the Kanto region, had actually forced her into this predicament. It couldn't even protect its severely injured Pokémon? Pikachu, Kiku exclaimed in shock, but Mu Chen was different. The battle had been going on for some time, and his charge skill's cooldown was long over. To subdue this Jengar that dared to attack Misty, Mu Chen unceremoniously entered charge mode. Zzzzz. Electricity began to leap up on his cheeks. Damn it! How dare you! Jengar. Ghost 2. Use hypnosis. Seeing the electricity leaping on Mu Chen's cheeks, Kiku knew perfectly well that he was about to unleash a powerful attack. The Jengar that attacked Misty was already severely injured. If it took another serious hit, it might be electrocuted. This was one of Agatha's main Pokémon. Faced with the possibility of losing her main Pokémon, Agatha panicked. Unfortunately, under the influence of Trick Room, Jengar's speed advantage couldn't be utilized. Having shot herself in the foot, Agatha could only choose to have both Jengar use hypnosis. She figured that if both Jengar used it simultaneously, Pikachu wouldn't be able to withstand it. If she could just hold it off for a moment, Agatha could recall the defeated Jengar. At this point, Agatha no longer hoped to capture Pikachu. With this tactical mistake, Agatha had lost her chance of victory. All Agatha wanted now was to escape unscathed. If she could escape unscathed, she would have a chance to get revenge later. But losing a main Pokémon would be a huge loss for Agatha. Hey, with Akiko's command, the two Jengar attacked in succession, unleashing a psychic beam that would induce drowsiness in Pikachu. However, while this move might normally have some effect on Mu Chen, it was completely ineffective against him now. The moment Zyuoxia was in danger, Mu Chen had already entered a state of explosive rage. The previous time, due to his carelessness, Zyuoxia had been kidnapped, and Mu Chen had secretly vowed never to let anyone harm a single hair on her head again. Now, this masked man dared to attack Zyuoxia right in front of him, and the anger in Mu Chen's chest was already burning fiercely. Hypnosis? What kind of pathetic nonsense is this? Who the hell are you trying to scare? The instant he was hit by the hypnosis, Mu Chen resisted it with his powerful willpower. At this moment, hypnosis was like a gentle breeze to Mu Chen, posing absolutely no threat. Ignoring the interference of the hypnosis, Mu Chen, fully charged, sprinted away. HMPH. Whoever you are, daring to lay a hand on Zyuoxia, you'll die. Leaping high into the air, filled with rage, Mu Chen unleashed an electric ball at the Jengar, which was already incapacitated by the electric shock. Although it lacked the boost of quick attack, and although the speed difference between them wasn't as extreme as that between Parasect and Venusaur, the power of this electric ball was still considerable. Crackling sound. With a piercing crackling sound of electricity, the electric ball slammed into Jengar's body. Eehehe, a painful cry rang out again. However, this was the last time this champion-level Jengar uttered a cry of pain. Already severely injured, and now further weakened by Mu Chen's powerful attack, the Jengar could no longer withstand the damage from the electric current. Damn it! You yellow-skinned rat! You just wait, I'll be back sooner or later. Seeing her main Pokémon die before her eyes, Aki's roar was filled with grief and indignation. However, under the influence of the Trick Room, her Jengar was unable to unleash its full power. Having lost one of her main Pokémon, Aki had no choice but to retreat. Who knew what else might be lost if they continued fighting? Pikachu, trying to leave? Did I agree to that? Seeing the masked man trying to escape, Mu Chen wouldn't stand for it. You think you can just attack and then leave as you please? Is everything yours? Mu Chen knew that to deal with these hidden enemies, he had to kill them all at once. Only in this way could these villains dare not act rashly. Otherwise, he would always be on guard. Who could stand that? Thinking back to his journey, how many times had he been harassed by Team Rocket? It was precisely because of that experience that Mu Chen now deeply understood the importance of eliminating the threat completely. Cool, right, just as Mu Chen was about to give chase to the masked man, Sidic's idiot cry suddenly pierced the air. Attracted by Sidic's cry, Mu Chen immediately looked up. Pikachu, what the hell? You moron, didn't you speed off to the horizon? What are you doing back here? And what's with all that following you? Looking at the Crobat circling and chasing Psyduck above its head, Mu Chen was speechless. What the hell, a teammate who's useless? While Mu Chen was still in a daze, Akiko seized the rare opportunity and quickly retreated from the area. Chapter 312 Advantages on the Field. Pikachu, what the hell? What's going on? Buy one get one free? One leaves and another appears? Originally, Mu Chen thought that Psyduck, that silly thing, had run off aimlessly and accidentally ended up in a bat nest, which was why it attracted the pursuit of these Crobats. But who would have thought that as soon as the masked man, Kiku, ran away, a masked ninja followed? This is a second round? Looking at the ninja leading the Crobats in pursuit, Mu Chen was completely speechless. However, Mu Chen didn't know that this ninja was not on the same team as the previous masked man. Although, their goals were the same. I was wondering where you little mouse ran off to. I didn't expect you to be here. Haha, this is truly effortless. This ninja was none other than Kiku. After receiving the mission to capture Pikachu, Kiku immediately set off for Misty's resting place. Originally, according to the arrogant Aju's plan, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble of luring Xiaoxia away like Kikuko did. He could have just taken action in the bustling city center, right? After capturing Pikachu and completing the mission, he would head to the Johto region. What did the chaos in Kanto matter to him? Being a member of Team Rocket, Aju wouldn't care about civilians or the impact on the situation. However, when Aju arrived, Xiaoxia had already been lured away by Kikuko. Using his ninja tracking skills, after wasting some time, Aju finally located Xiaoxia's approximate location. While chasing after her, before he could even find Xiaoxia and Pikachu, he encountered this stupid duck. Aju initially had no interest in this suddenly appearing stupid duck. But who would have thought that this idiot would dare to provoke him? As a powerful figure comparable to Ultron, Aju naturally possessed his own dignity. How could he tolerate being provoked by a stupid duck that appeared out of nowhere? Unexpectedly, this silly duck's resilience far exceeded Aju's expectations. This piqued Aju's interest. Such a tough Psyduck would be perfect as a meat shield. However, Aju didn't know that this silly duck had an owner. After being thoroughly beaten, the silly duck, full of grievance, covered its head and ran away, galloping towards its owner. The chase quickly brought them to the battlefield where the battle had just ended. Seeing the Pikachu he had been searching for appear, Aju was naturally overjoyed. A tough Psyduck was dispensable, but this Pikachu was the key to his becoming the Elite Four member of the Johto region. Psyduck, are you alright? Having found Pikachu, Aju naturally wouldn't let Crobat chase Psyduck anymore. Having escaped safely, Psyduck looked aggrieved and snuggled into Misty's arms, starting to act cute. Pika, what the hell? What the hell are you doing? Hands. Watch your hands. Where to put it? Looking for electricity? Mu Chen's attention was initially on the suddenly appearing ninja. But unexpectedly, Psyduck dared to take advantage of him? How could he tolerate this? Although Mu Chen knew that Psyduck was too stupid to understand these things, seeing this little rascal now jumping into Misty's arms, Mu Chen was definitely going to be jealous. Cool, right, he was initially full of grievances, wanting to seek comfort from his master. But unexpectedly, Pikachu got angry. Hearing Mu Chen's warning, Psyduck immediately shuddered. Electric shock. This was a terror branded deep within Psyduck's soul. HMPH. Little mouse, how dare you ignore me? Go. Crobat, use cross poison. Let him know the wrath of us ninjas. Pikachu paused. Pika, although Aju didn't understand, she knew that this guy completely disregarded her. Seeing this, Aju was furious. A ninja at the Heavenly King level appeared before you, and you dare to ignore him? What else is there to say? It has to be nerfed. Cough cough. Upon receiving Aju's command, a Crobat hovering above its head immediately shot out, pouncing fiercely at Pikachu. However, although the creature's attack was full of momentum, its speed was. What? Why is it so slow? Before Mu Chen could react, Aju was already dumbfounded. Its Crobat was one of the fastest creatures in the Pokémon world. Logically speaking, a Crobat's attack should be a streak of light appearing in front of Pikachu. But now? What's going on? Watching the Crobat move in slow motion, Aju was dumbfounded. Damn it! Am I still asleep? Am I hallucinating? Pika Pika, this isn't a group? Holy crap! What's going on? Seeing Aju's surprise, Mu Chen was equally dumbfounded. Originally, Mu Chen guessed that this ninja was definitely in cahoots with the masked man from before. When one fails, another takes over for a second round. But unexpectedly, this guy didn't know about the trick room the masked man had used. What does this mean? These two aren't even on the same side. At this moment, Mu Chen suddenly realized that his hidden mission seemed to be really difficult. But mission aside for now. Right now, I'll just electrocute you. The trick room effect hadn't worn off yet, so Mu Chen naturally wouldn't waste this golden opportunity. You see, Krabit is incredibly fast. Without trick room, under normal circumstances, Mu Chen wouldn't be sure he could outspeed it. Now, with trick room, Krabit is as slow as parasitic. What's there to be polite about? No questions asked. Electric ball, here we go. The power of electric ball depends on the speed difference. It was precisely because of this that Aju still didn't take Pikachu seriously after seeing the video. Without the threat of electric ball, relying solely on Thunderbolt. Even if this Pikachu could electrocute one of my Krabits, could it electrocute three of them? That was the source of Aju's confidence. However, the existence of this deceptive space disrupted all of Aju's plans. Crackling sounds, a series of crackling electrical sounds rang out as Mu Chen leaped high and delivered an electric ball to the parasitic Krabit. Cough. Cough, a painful cry immediately came from the Krabit's mouth. Having lost its speed advantage, this thing wasn't really that scary. Its resistance was far inferior to other Pokémon of the same level. Moreover, Krabit was a flying-type Pokémon, and had no immunity to electric-type moves. Chapter 313 Zyoksh's Brick. Damn it. Why is this happening? What's going on here? This is infuriating. At this moment, Aju was no longer calm and composed. This is ridiculous. He'd already lost to Krabit the moment they met? This was also a champion-level creature. While Krabits are known for their specialization, only their speed and attack power are enough to reach champion level, but the problem is, where is their speed? Where did Krabit's speed, which Aju was so proud of, go? Looking at his ridiculously slow Krabit, Aju was filled with terror. Pikachu Pikachu, Aju was terrified, but Mu Chen was filled with excitement. Haha. This trickery space is incredibly powerful. The fact that this Krabit's speed has been reduced so much means that even at full speed, he couldn't be faster than this thing in its normal state. Mu Chen wasn't stupid. After fighting within the trickery space for a while, he had a general understanding of the skill's effects. It was precisely because of this that Mu Chen began to take the initiative, utilizing the advantage created by the arena. He electrocuted a Krabit, but that wasn't enough. Mu Chen quickly activated his attack, charging towards Aju, whose eyes held an expression of disbelief. Damn it. Daring to attack me, then prepare to die. Damn it. Krabit, use Hide Mist. Seeing Pikachu charging towards him, Aju had no choice but to have Krabit use Hide Mist. Cough. Upon receiving Aju's command, the two Krabits hovering beside him vibrated their enormous wings, spewing out bursts of black mist. Normally, if the black mist completely covered this space, Pikachu inside would become blind. As long as Pikachu's vision was affected, even if Krabit's speed was inexplicably restricted, Aju could find a way to counterattack. However, the situation here was not normal. Although Krabit used the black mist move, and black mist was being exhaled from between its wings, it was simply too slow. Affected by Trick Room, the frequency of Krabit's wing vibrations was greatly reduced. This significantly hampered the release of the black mist move. Pikachu, black mist? Don't even think about it. While charging, seeing the two Krabits stance, Mu Chen knew exactly what they were up to. Being enveloped in black mist would indeed be a huge problem for Mu Chen. However, they had no chance. Zzz. Electricity crackled as Mu Chen unleashed a thunderbolt at each of the two Krabits during his charge. While Thunderbolt wasn't as powerful as Electric Ball, it was easier to use. With Electric Ball, Mu Chen could only use his tail to flick it away, but with Thunderbolt, he could easily handle it with his handsome face. Charging forward at breakneck speed, Mu Chen certainly wouldn't waste time jumping around posing. 100,000 volts would be enough to interrupt the black mist surrounding the two giant bats. Cough cough. Sure enough, with 200,000 volts, the two Krabits struggling to flap their wings let out painful screams. Damn it. You wretched yellow-skinned rat, you're lucky today. Seeing that things were hopeless, As a ninja who could adapt to any situation, Aju naturally wouldn't stubbornly continue to fight head-on. A smoke bomb was fired, and Aju, along with the two Krabits, instantly disappeared from Mu Chen's sight. Pikachu, trying to run? Don't even think about it. Seeing it was the same smoke bomb retreat tactic again, Mu Chen showed no mercy, firing 100,000 volts into the smoke. Based on Mu Chen's previous experience, this 100,000 volt attack would definitely leave something behind. However, this time, Mu Chen's predicted attack missed. Those he faced before were nothing but trash. Aju, however, was a powerful ninja. Just as Mu Chen unleashed his 100,000 volts, Aju, using a smoke bomb as cover, changed his position. Yellow-skinned rat, you just wait, I'll be back sooner or later. Leaving behind a harsh threat, Aju recalled the Krabit, which had been electrocuted and was on the verge of death, and turned to leave. But unexpectedly, at that moment, Aju suddenly found himself losing control of his body. Cool, right, the one who intervened was naturally Sidic, who had been idly standing by. Xiaoxia hadn't intervened in the battle earlier because Pikachu had the advantage. However, Xiaoxia hadn't been idle either. Not only Mu Chen, but Xiaoxia herself deeply resented this constant harassment. Having let the masked man escape before, how could Xiaoxia possibly watch this ninja escape like the masked man? Therefore, Xiaoxia, who was guarding the sidelines, was prepared. Sidic, that idiot, is back, and Misty certainly won't waste resources. Sidic, you said you can't use psychic because your head doesn't hurt? Fine, I'll help you remember how to use psychic. To ensure that this idiot doesn't mess up at the crucial moment, Misty really went all out this time. Just as Aju used a smoke bomb, Misty picked up a brick and smacked Sidic's round head hard. The brick hit, and although Sidic cried out in pain, at the same time, the idiot finally remembered how to use psychic. Stimulated by the intense pain, Sidic unleashed all its resentment at Aju. Mu Chen, attracted by Aju's smoke bomb, missed his target. But Sidic didn't. It launched a psychic attack just as Aju was retrieving Krabit and preparing to leave. The psychic blast hit, and the unprepared Aju was naturally hit. HMPH. You damned bastard. Tell me, who sent you? After being attacked repeatedly, Xiaoxia gradually realized something was wrong. If the masked man was from Team Rocket, then who is this ninja? These two didn't seem to be on the same side at all. Damn it. Put me down. You're asking for death. Controlled by Sidic's psychic power, Aju continued to curse. As a champion-level powerhouse, a high-ranking member of Team Rocket, and soon to become one of the 4 Elite Four in the Johto region, the arrogant Aju still hadn't grasped his place. Clearly, Aju was utterly resentful of this inexplicable defeat. This battle was incredibly frustrating. Chapter 314 Mu Chen's Torture Methods. Pikachu, what do we do? Should we just hand this guy over to Officer Jenny? Looking at the bound and immobilized Aju, Xiaoxia was at a loss. This guy was incredibly stubborn, refusing to say anything and only hurling insults, making it impossible to extract any clues. Xiaoxia and Mu Chen were reluctant to kill him outright. After being ambushed repeatedly, wouldn't it be foolish to fail to find the mastermind? As for why they didn't recognize him as Aju, the former leader of the Fuchsia Gym? No way. Ninjas always wear the same clothes and masks, who knows what they actually look like? Besides, so much time has passed, who would pay close attention to the appearance of a gym leader? Mu Chen, for one, could remember beautiful women, but he couldn't remember any men. Pika, Mu Chen was also helpless in the face of Xiaoxia's predicament. This ninja truly lives up to the name ninja. I fired several electric shocks at him, and his hair stood on end, yet he still managed to withstand it. Looks like I'm being forced to use some unconventional methods. Mu Chen knew that with this level of torture, he wouldn't get anything out of him. Therefore, he had already made a decision. HMPH. Ninja? I'll see if the ninjas of this world have ever experienced the legendary SM. Of course, Mu Chen wouldn't show such a bloody and brutal scene to Xiaoxia. Not only would it scare his sweetheart, but if Xiaoxia saw the ninja's exposed parts, wouldn't Mu Chen himself be the one who suffered? Pikachu, you want me to go back by myself? You're staying here to torture him? Then why not take him back to torture him? Looking at Pikachu gesturing wildly, Xiaoxia roughly guessed what the little guy meant. However, what puzzled Xiaoxia was why he wanted her to go back. And this guy, even if you're going to torture him, can't you take him back for interrogation? Pikachu, Pikachu, ugh, stop dawdling, just do what I tell you. What if someone sees you taking them back? How are you going to explain that? Hey, you stupid duck, let me tell you, protect Zyuoxia well. If anything happens to Zyuoxia, I'll electrocute you. After gesturing at Zyuoxia again, Mu Chen turned to Psyduck, who was racking its brains trying to figure out who hit it with a brick, and threatened it. This stupid duck won't work unless you put some pressure on it. Okay. Then be careful. Seeing Pikachu's firm attitude, Zyuoxia had no choice but to obey his orders. To put it bluntly, although Zyuoxia was intelligent, she was still a girl after all. Pikachu might look like a Pokémon, but Zyuoxia knew that this bastard's intelligence was definitely no lower than any human's. Many times, in Zyuoxia's heart, this bastard was a man who could accompany her and protect her, a man who often took advantage of her. Cool, right, of course, Zyuoxia wasn't the only one responding to Mu Chen. Ever since Mu Chen gave him a beating, Psyduck's small brain had been filled with the image of this yellow-skinned mouse's brutality. While Psyduck was fearless, this yellow-skinned mouse watched Zyuoxia's figure gradually disappear into the distance, and Mu Chen refocused his attention on this ninja. Speak, I know you're definitely not from Team Rocket. If you don't want to suffer, just say it, who the hell sent you? After Zyuoxia left, Mu Chen's interrogation method was naturally writing with a small wooden stick. You? What the hell are you? Pokémon can write. In all his years of ninja experience, Aju had never heard of such a thing. Suddenly seeing this Pikachu sticking up its butt and writing, Aju's shock was unimaginable. Stop talking nonsense and hurry up, or I'll show you what cruelty is. Mu Chen already knew that most humans would be surprised by his ability to write. He had no interest in explaining to this ninja prisoner. He'd rather torture him and go back to Xia to warm his bed. HMPH. Yellow-skinned rat, whatever you are, don't even think about threatening me. Aju was unfazed by Pikachu's threat. However, he quickly regretted it. Ah. Damn it. Let me go. Take it away. Take the damn stick away. As a ninja, a seasoned ninja, Aju hadn't begged for mercy in so many years. Physical pain was bearable for a ninja, but this mental anguish was unbearable. This yellow-skinned rat was a demon straight from hell. Good heavens. How could it have conceived of such a perverse form of torture? Pikachu, damn it. Is this what they call a ninja? Damn, this is just the foreplay, and you can't even handle this. Looking at the ninja in front of him, tears and snot streaming down his face, Mu Chen felt nothing but contempt. This is nothing. I was just helping you clear your throat, and you're crying like this? Ah. No. Spare me. I'll talk. I'll tell you everything. Just as Aju had breathed a sigh of relief seeing Pikachu pull out a stick at her shouts, she turned around to see Pikachu walking towards her again with a contemptuous expression. Of course, if it were just walking over, Aju wouldn't be worried at all. But what is that yellow-skinned mouse holding? Damn it. Are you going to stick this thing in too? I can't take it. Looking at the arm-thick wooden stick, the stick that required Pikachu to hold with both hands, Aju shamefully lost control of her bladder. The thought of this thing piercing him filled Aju with a sense of utter despair. Death wasn't frightening for a ninja. At most, Aju would just regret not becoming a heavenly king. But if a ninja, and a male ninja, was pierced by this thing, that was 1,000 times, 10,000 times more terrifying than death. Aju declared that if he had a choice, he'd rather commit suicide immediately. However, with his hands and feet bound, and Pikachu unexpectedly unleashing an electromagnetic wave, Aju had no means of suicide. As for biting his tongue? Hell, in this world, seppuku exists, but biting one's tongue is truly unheard of. Pikachu, damn, he confessed already? I was just testing the power of this human cannon. Chapter 315 Uncovering the Truth. Pikachu, at this moment, Mu Chen was walking slowly with heavy steps. No matter how he thought about it, he never expected that he, whom Musashi and others had once looked down upon, would now be so popular. Damn it. The Ghost-type Elite Four member, Kikuko. It was actually that masked man. And this ninja was none other than Akari, the gym leader of Fuchsia City. His boss was none other than Lance, the so-called strongest Elite Four member, the Dragon-type Elite Four member. Earlier, after Mu Chen took out the human cannon, Akari decisively chickened out. Although he couldn't test the power of the human cannon, Akari had chosen to confess, so Mu Chen naturally had no objections. First of all, Mu Chen naturally asked about this guy's identity. There was already a female ninja, Anzu, and now a male ninja, Akari, had popped up. Mu Chen was speechless. Damn it. Why couldn't you two be in reverse order? If you were a female ninja, wouldn't I have even more things to test? Even with a human cannon, I wouldn't give up halfway, would I? Unfortunately, this guy is a male ninja. Originally, Mu Chen thought this guy should be on the same side as that Aju. But unexpectedly, when Mu Chen heard this guy's identity, his heart was filled with relief. Damn it. Aju, the leader of the Crimson Dojo. This guy is known as the strongest dojo leader, someone who can challenge the Elite Four. No wonder he was so resentful even after being captured. If it were me, I wouldn't accept it either. Clearly possessing superior strength, yet due to the trick space, my strength was instantly suppressed to dust. This defeat was indeed frustrating. However, this wasn't the most important thing. What shocked Mu Chen the most was that this guy didn't recognize the female ninja from before. This guy was showing his face for the first time. As for this guy's boss, it made Mu Chen's mind race with excitement. Lance. Unexpectedly, I've actually been noticed by a champion-level powerhouse. Knowing who Aju's boss is, Mu Chen naturally wanted to ask about the masked man from before. Based on the successive attacks of these two groups, Mu Chen could roughly guess that the masked man was the one who first attacked him. After all, others could be faked, but a talking Jengar wasn't something ordinary. Knowing that even a fighter of Lance's caliber was studying him, Mu Chen had a rough idea of who the masked man was. However, necessary confirmation was still needed. And Aju's answer was indeed not unexpected. Based on Mu Chen's description, Aju immediately gave a precise answer. The masked man was none other than the ghost-type champion, Kiku. Being noticed by these two groups, Mu Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Cry, naturally, because the enemy's strength was somewhat beyond his expectations. Laugh, of course, because his value had increased. At first, Mu Chen thought at least one of the two groups of players was Team Rocket, but it turned out that Team Rocket had nothing to do with it. It was all the work of the League guys. This was truly infuriating. However, at least he now knew who was behind his attack, and Mu Chen had a plan in mind. Lance? Agatha Christie? You all just wait, I'll remember this. Mu Chen knew that if he confronted them head-on, he wouldn't be able to fight them. Even if Agatha Christie came in person, he was only able to defeat her because the old woman's intelligence was wrong and she used some kind of trick space. Without that trick space, those three Elite Four level Jengars would have easily killed him. Although he had taken down one of Agatha Christie's Jengars, no one knew how much strength the old woman still had. Therefore, although Mu Chen knew who his opponent was, he could only endure it for now. HMPH. Just wait, when I finish the main quest, I'll beat you to pulp or I'll change my surname to yours. As for Yu Longdu, Mu Chen considered him the final boss. The mastermind mentioned in the system quest was likely this guy. His strength was undeniable, he was definitely a top-tier player. He was a dragon tamer. Having finally obtained all the answers he wanted, Mu Chen regretfully released Aju. Why release Aju? This guy was clearly traumatized. Seeing Mu Chen was more terrifying than seeing his own mother. Was he supposed to kill him? He claimed he was going to become the king of Chengdu. Mu Chen was quite satisfied to have such an obedient follower. He even assigned him a mission, to remain undercover near Yu Longdu and relay messages. Why was Mu Chen so confident that Aju wouldn't be disloyal? Well, the power of the human cannon wasn't just for show. There were no such shady characters in this world. At this moment, Aju dared not disobey this yellow-skinned rat's wishes in the slightest. Of course, it was impossible for Aju to personally deliver the message. After all, he had a younger sister, Lingzi, whom Mu Chen couldn't forget. And Lingzi had come with Aju. Because of Aju's overconfidence in his own strength, Lingzi had only been sent to the outer perimeter as a lookout. In fact, Lingzi was unaware of the inhuman torture her brother had endured. To show sincerity, Aju naturally summoned his sister Lingzi. Aju had also heard about Pikachu's peculiar hobby from Lance. At this moment, if you ask Aju to fight Pikachu, he absolutely wouldn't have the courage. And Aju wasn't stupid. In Lance and Akiko's eyes, Pikachu had the potential to become a true electric-type legendary Pokémon. And in Aju's eyes, this potential was inevitable. Seriously? Have you ever seen a Pokémon with this kind of intelligence? A Pokémon with this kind of intelligence must be a legendary Pokémon. At this moment, in Aju's eyes, this Pikachu is simply a manifestation of some legendary Pokémon, only it had somehow taken on Pikachu's form. Being able to latch onto such a powerful ally, Aju felt he hadn't lost out. Who says humans can't ally with Pokémon? In this world, strength still reigns supreme. Finally, the female ninja Lingzi was summoned, thus getting to know Pikachu. Hearing that her brother had submitted to Pikachu, Lingzi was naturally filled with confusion. However, after being knocked out by Pikachu's electromagnetic wave, Lingzi roughly understood. Chapter 316, The Round of 32 begins. Pikachu, you mean, all these people attacking us are Team Rocket? Then why don't they recognize each other? Even the masked man's illusionary space and the ninja from later on, they don't know each other either. After returning, Mu Chen naturally made up a whole story for Xiaoxia. He was joking, of course. The fact that high-ranking League officials were attacking civilians, whether anyone would believe it or not, even if Xiaoxia knew, it wouldn't help, it would only put immense pressure on her. As a man, Mu Chen naturally had to shoulder everything himself. Women didn't need to know about this. The more they knew, the more dangerous it would be. Xiaoxia's capture was just collateral damage. Those guys' ultimate goal was still him. However, Mu Chen wasn't worried about this. He already knew from Aju that this was the last time these guys would target him. After Ash gets his spot on the top 16 tomorrow, they'll have to stop. After all, as high-ranking League officials and the Elite Four, they still have their pride. However, just because Kiku and Lance gave up didn't mean Mu Chen would give up too. Revenge was inevitable. As for Misty, let her be a carefree, happy woman. As for Ash? Hell, that idiot. Mu Chen had never considered his feelings. Pikachu, after confirming with Misty again, the exhausted Mu Chen decisively snuggled into her arms and drifted off to sleep. Damn, this day was absolutely exhausting. Ash. You idiot, you better perform tomorrow. Ash's league tournament wasn't just about comforting Mu Chen and Misty, it was also about Mu Chen's main quest. If he failed miserably, the punishment would be annihilation. Mu Chen didn't want to be forced to lose for no reason. The night passed without incident. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kanto League Tournament. This tournament has entered the round of 32. Today's contestants are Ash from Pallet Town and Rock from Pewter City. As a new day dawned, Mu Chen and Misty naturally arrived at the league tournament venue. Today was Ash's crucial battle to reach the round of 16. If Ash could win, the shackles binding Mu Chen would be removed. He could rejoin the competition, which was incredibly important to him. If he could help Ash win the championship, the system mission would be completed, granting him a significant power boost, and Ash's fame would resound throughout the league. Then, everyone would know of his existence as Pikachu. Mu Chen, and Agatha and the others would naturally dare not make a move. Mu Chen knew that to truly ensure Misty's safety against those hidden opponents, he needed this overt protection. As for Ash's safety? Damn it. Mission accomplished, I don't care if you die. Come out, it's you I choose. Taurus had played a crucial role in the last battle, so Ash chose it first for this rock terrain event. He figured with its powerful charge, it could easily knock down a few opponents. Taurus? Someone actually keeps a Pokemon that's only fit for food? Haha. Well then, you'll be fighting this time, Golem. There are no weaklings among the top 32. Seeing Ash send out Taurus first, his opponent, Desolace, immediately reacted. Taurus is a normal-type Pokemon, while Golem is a ground-rock type, giving it a significant advantage. Taurus used Charge, however, Ash didn't care about type advantages. In his eyes, as long as you're strong enough and have the confidence to win, there's no opponent you can't defeat. Moo, at Ash's command. Taurus immediately lowered its head, its horns glowing, and charged towards Golem. Golem, use Harden. Having chosen Golem, which was super effective against Taurus, Tajikus naturally had its reasons. Harden was an extremely effective move against Taurus. You're a physical attacker? Then I'll increase your physical defense. Normal types can't even scratch rock types, and with increased defense, let's see how you withstand it. Gurgle, at Tajikus's command, Golem's body was instantly covered in a layer of earth yellow energy armor. This was the Harden move, which enhanced its defense. Bang! When Golem used Harden, Taurus's charge came to an end. A sound of flesh colliding with rock. Moo, immediately following was Taurus's earth-shattering cry of pain. With a powerful charge, Golem only lost a few rock fragments, while Taurus suffered a broken horn and serious injury. Haha. See that? Kid, this isn't a stage for mindless attacks like you can get away with anything. Golem defeated Taurus without even expending much effort, and Rockriff immediately launched into a loud taunt. Damn it. Taurus, you've had a tough time. Next up, Misskirt. Taurus had indeed had a tough time. A mindless charge had costed its horns on the rocks. How could it not have suffered? Seeing that Taurus was no longer able to fight, Ash had no choice but to recall it. The best choice to deal with the golem was naturally Misskirt or Melodic. Melodic was Ash's main fighter, so he naturally wouldn't let it go into battle too early. The remaining choice was Misskirt. Grunt. At Ash's call, the highly competitive Misskirt made her dazzling entrance. Misskirt, use Leaf Storm. Facing Golem, Ash didn't choose to have Misskirt use Leech Seed this time. Frankly, that move is just for attrition. Golem's type is weak against Misskirt, and its speed is even slower. Leaf Storm is enough to finish it off. What's the use of high physical defense? Misskirt is a special attacker. Sketch. Receiving Ash's command, Misskirt immediately began her petal dance. Then, bursts of emerald green energy crystals bombarded Golem. Oh no. Golem, use Dig. Seeing Misskirt's stance, Kushrlin knew her Golem was no match. Unfortunately, Golem excels at defense and counter-attack. This speed was truly tragic. Gurgle. Just as its hands began to dig, Misskirt's Leaf Storm struck. A scream, unsurprisingly, came from Golem's mouth. Chapter 317. Let's go back to being the iron-headed kid. Damn it. I underestimated you. Now, let me show you my main Pokémon. Go, my strongest partner, Blastoise. At this moment, Ash and Ash were in the 4th round of battle. After Golem's defeat, Ash summoned Sandslash. However, after Sandslash was hit by Leech Seed, it only managed a few hard hits on Miss Swallow before gloriously exiting the battle. Having lost 2 Pokémon to Miss Swallow in a row, Ash couldn't hold back any longer. Although Blastoise's type was weak against it, relying on its high level and base stats, coupled with Miss Swallow's greatly reduced HP, Ash was confident he could defeat it. Miss Swallow, use Leech Seed. Seeing Ash summon Blastoise, Ash's first reaction was to have Miss Swallow use Leech Seed to restore her HP. Although Miss Swallow had successfully defeated Sandslash before, the creature's counterattack had severely depleted her HP. Now, facing one of the 3 starter Pokémon from the Kanto region, Ash naturally dared not underestimate his opponent. However, Ash had forgotten Blastoise's powerful self-defense capabilities. Blastoise, use U-turn. Came. Blastoise's self-defense move was naturally U-turn. Through high-speed rotation, moves like Leech Seed were completely ineffective against Blastoise. Alright. Blastoise, next we'll use Hydro Pump. Came. A single U-turn destroyed Leech Seed, and Dedric's command came again. Hydro Pump was arguably one of the most powerful water-type moves. With Dedric's command, the 2 thick cannons on Blastoise's back unleashed a powerful Hydro Pump at Miss Fortune. Although Miss Fortune wasn't afraid of water-type attacks, the Hydro Pump's power was too great, and Miss Fortune was already in poor condition. Skirty, a painful cry rang out as Skirty was blasted to the edge of the arena by the water cannon. Skirty, you've done well. Next up, it's Pidgeotto. Skirty's ability to take on 2 opponents at once was enough for Ash. Facing the powerful Blastoise, Ash chose Pidgeotto this time. Although its attack and defense were inferior to Blastoise's, Pidgeotto's agility far surpassed this big guy. Ash's plan was to use Pidgeotto's mobility to defeat Blastoise. Alice, this idiot was overthinking it. Use Water Cannon. Keep using Water Cannon. Came. Under Rock's command, Blastoise unleashed a barrage of water cannons at the circling Pidgeotto. Although Pidgeotto was agile enough to dodge most of the attacks, it only took 1 hit, and the drenched Pidgeotto was gloriously defeated. Pikachu, damn it. Ash, where's your stubbornness? Why the hell did you use Pidgeotto instead of Melodic, that old hag? Just to feed them kills. Mu Chen was initially pleased to see Ash win 2 consecutive matches using Miss Fortune. But then this idiot changed his tune, switching to some kind of trick. Now look what happened. He got tricked. Watching Ash feed Pidgeotto's kills, Mu Chen nearly died of anger. This match was a matter of life and death for Mu Chen. If they lost because of Ash's idiotic maneuvering, Mu Chen swore he'd take the idiot down with him. Melodic, you're the one. Ash realized he wasn't cut out for maneuvering after failing to use Pidgeotto. Headstrong and brute force was his forte. Eevee, at Ash's call, Melodic's massive body appeared on the field. Upon seeing Melodic appear, gasps of surprise erupted from the spectators. Melodic is an extremely rare Pokémon, both in the Kanto region and worldwide. In fact, most ordinary trainers have no idea how Melodic evolves. Melodic? Blastoise, show it our power. Use Hydro Pump. Seeing this so-called most beautiful Pokémon, Kuroki's eyes flashed with admiration. Melodic was far more beautiful than Blastoise. However, this wasn't a beauty pageant. Blastoise's most powerful move was Hydro Pump, and Kuroki was confident he could defeat Melodic with it. Melodic. We can't be weak either. Use Water Pulse. Melodic didn't know Hydro Pump, but Water Pulse wasn't much weaker. Seeing its opponent's move, Ash decisively ordered a counterattack. Crack, I know. Under the command of their two trainers, the two Pokémon immediately entered battle mode. The arena echoed with the booming sounds of clashing moves. Boom, boom, boom. The rocky terrain was instantly flooded with water. While the two streams of water weren't enough to completely alter the terrain, they certainly turned the once hard ground into mud. However, neither trainer noticed this. At this moment, Ash and Kieran were completely absorbed in their iron-headed mode. They only knew to continuously command their Pokémon to use moves and clash with the enemy. Whoever couldn't hold out longer would be the loser. However, Kieran hadn't anticipated that Ash's Melodic possessed a stamina far exceeding that of ordinary Pokémon. Constantly being challenged by Mu Chen to spar, even though Melodic was on the defensive, it had still received a great deal of training. At the very least, its endurance, stamina, and resilience had all improved significantly. Finally, after a long exchange, Melodic's Water Pulse showed no signs of abating. Conversely, Blastoise's once incredibly powerful water cannon had become a water gun, practically useless. How is this possible? My Blastoise is invincible. Seeing the water cannon turn into a water gun, Kieran couldn't accept it. However, he couldn't change the fact. Melodic, charge. Use Bind. Blastoise was completely silenced, and Ash, like a victorious general, waved his hand, giving Melodic the final attack command. Without water cannon, the Blastoise, its stamina greatly reduced, was left with only its hard shell. Once bound, it would be easy prey. Pikachu. Although this battle lacked any skill, Mu Chen watched with great excitement. The starter Pokémon are generally the main Pokémon used by trainers. Defeating this creature would greatly increase Ash's chances of winning. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 318 The Dragon Crossing's Changed Mind. Congratulations to Ash from Pallet Town on advancing to the round of 16. After defeating Blastoise, the rocky terrain became muddy. Most of Ash's Pokémon were rock and ground types, making movement difficult, let alone battling Melodic. Faced with a powerful Melodic, Ash could only sacrifice two Pokémon to defeat it. However, after Melodic's departure, Ash shamelessly summoned Gardevoir. Watching Gardevoir constantly using teleport, its figure like a ghost, Ash despaired. And the price of his despair was, of course, bidding farewell to the supreme stage for trainers. Ha ha ha. Pikachu. I won. We can go to the round of 16. Having won, Ash excitedly rushed out of the arena. Seeing Misty and Pikachu waiting for him at the entrance, Ash pounced on them. But zzz. A bolt of electricity flashed, and Ash's charge came to an abrupt halt. Pikachu, damn it. That's too much? What are you trying to do, charging at me with your arms outstretched? Seeing Ash's stance, Mu Chen decisively used an electric shock to calm him down. If he charged any further, he'd crash into Misty. Misty is mine, how could I let you, a complete idiot, hug her so easily? Suddenly shocked, Ash was a little confused. Pikachu, why did you shock me? Is it because you're too excited? Clearly, Ash still couldn't figure out the reason. Pikachu, Ash didn't understand, but Misty certainly did. Squeezing the Pikachu in her arms, Misty's pretty face flushed slightly. Don't be like that, Ash is our partner. Looking at the still indignant Pikachu, Misty could only helplessly whisper a plea to him. This little rascal, he's too jealous. At this moment, the relationship between Misty and Pikachu had transcended the friendship between a typical Pokémon and a human. Xiaoxia herself was well aware that Pikachu, this creature with intelligence far exceeding that of ordinary humans, harbored impure thoughts towards her. However, after experiencing so much, and having been taken advantage of by this rascal Pikachu, her heart was also filled by him, and Xiaoxia's feelings for Pikachu had crossed the line of friendship. It was only because this rascal Pikachu was a Pokémon. If this rascal were human, Xiaoxia knew she would probably have already clearly defined her relationship with him. Pass the order, halt all operations. Just as Xiaozi and Xiaoxia were celebrating, Agatha, inside the Elite Four, issued a grim order to her subordinates. Pikachu was already eligible to participate in the round of 16, making its capture impractical. Even capturing Xiaoxia wouldn't be very meaningful. With the tournament about to enter the finals, Agatha, as the Ghost-type Elite Four member, dared not make any major moves. The league wasn't hers alone. If she incurred the wrath of the masses, Agatha would only suffer even greater losses. Because of this Pikachu, Akiko has already lost to champion-level Jengar. This is a huge loss for Akiko as well. Of course, Akiko won't give up so easily. Everything will be decided after the league tournament ends. Just as Akiko decided to temporarily stop, in another Elite Four tower, Akiko was also reporting to Lance. You mean, you lost? This Pikachu, is it really that strong? Looking at the dejected Akiko, Lance slowly picked up his wineglass. However, the slight ripples in the wineglass revealed that he was not calm at this moment. Akiko, a being that could compete for champion status, actually lost? And after Akiko made her move. This means that the Pikachu could defeat Akiko while withstanding Akiko's attacks. How is this possible? This situation really surprised Lance. Has the Pikachu grown to this level? That's right, I lost. If it weren't for the type advantage, I might have had a fighting chance. But that guy is an electric type, and as you know, my main force is Crobat. Of course, Aju wouldn't describe the details of the defeat to Lance. As the saying goes, what seems real is actually fake, and what seems fake is actually real. Lance isn't stupid, and even though Aju has now sided with Mu Chen, she wouldn't hide too much from him. At the very least, the fact that Kikuko personally took action was information Aju and Mu Chen decided to tell Lance after discussion. He knows his own strength, currently, against these Elite Four level beings. If it weren't for that deceptive space, Mu Chen wouldn't have a real chance of winning. Therefore, after some discussion, Mu Chen and Aju decided to intimidate him. They would use information close to the truth, but omitting the details, to intimidate Lance. Unlike Kikuko, he's currently at the peak of his power. Once he realizes his target isn't so easy to deal with, the cautious Lance naturally won't take any further action. Alright. I underestimated you this time, it's not your fault. Aju, our promise won't be broken, I'll support you in becoming the champion of the Johto region. After a moment's thought, Lance finally put down his wineglass. Looking at the dejected Aju, Lance reached out and patted his shoulder, comforting him. Let's put this Pikachu aside for now. Come to think of it, it's been a long time since our league has produced a trainer with such potential. Although this Pikachu was powerful and had immense potential, it was still a tamed Pokémon. Even if they captured it, they couldn't immediately control it. Besides, as the most watched person in the league, and also the most prominent among Pokémon, Lance couldn't possibly act personally. Dragonite was one of a kind. If it were to intervene and be exposed, the impact on Lance would be enormous. Lance wouldn't do something so counterproductive. Therefore, having chosen to give up, Lance changed his initial attitude. As Pikachu's trainer, Ash was worth recruiting. Since he hadn't been exposed, bringing Ash to his side and making him a member of his team wouldn't be much different from directly capturing Pikachu. However, Lance was unaware that Kiku was already playing a double agent with him. For a ninja like Kiku, death wasn't scary. But he absolutely didn't want to experience torture worse than death again. Chapter 319 The Coming Round of 16. Leaving the Sky King Tower at Lance's place, Age looked at his younger sister, Lingzi, who was guarding outside. After a moment's hesitation, he made a decision. Lingzi, go tell Pikachu that Lance has changed his mind. He now wants to recruit Ash. Hearing her brother's words, Lingzi, who had been completely calm, trembled violently. In Lingzi's eyes, that Pikachu was nothing short of a demon. If she could, Lingzi would rather never see Pikachu again. However, Aju was her own brother, and Lingzi could not betray him. Understood. With that, Lingzi left Aju's sight like a martyr about to be executed. However, Lingzi was unaware that Aju, watching her retreating figure, was lost in thought. Pikachu's strength was terrifying. Moreover, Aju knew better than Akiko and Lance just how fast this Pikachu was growing. In the previous battle at the gym, this Pikachu had barely managed to defeat one of her Krabits. But now, Pikachu easily defeated him even when he used all his power. While there might be a hint of trickery, this was only possible because Pikachu possessed absolute strength as a foundation. Moreover, what shocked Aju most was Pikachu's intelligence. It had completely surpassed the concept of a Pokémon. No matter what kind of Pokémon, it is essentially a beast, and even with some intelligence, it mostly acts on instinct. This is why trainers exist. Only with proper training and battle command from a trainer can a Pokémon unleash its full power. But this Pikachu is different. Its intelligence has surpassed that of humans. This is what moved Aju the most. With such intelligence, Pikachu possesses endless potential. Given enough time, becoming a true electric-type Supreme Pokémon is no problem at all. While it's not nice for someone about to become a regional Elite Four member to submit to Pokémon, it depends on the situation, right? If Pikachu becomes the Supreme Electric-type legendary Pokémon, then Aju will only rise to power by riding on its coattails. That's why Aju used Lingzi as a middleman to relay the information. Aju is well aware of Pikachu's peculiar tastes. If he could deepen his relationship with Pikachu through Lingzi, Aju wouldn't mind. After all, it's just a Pokémon, taking advantage of it wouldn't hurt. Even if Pikachu ate him, as a member of the ninja clan who was already prepared to sacrifice himself, Aju wouldn't feel bad. Female ninjas were sacrifices meant to attract powerful allies. Of course, Mu Chen was unaware of Kikuko and Lance's plans. At this moment, Mu Chen was rolling around wildly in Misty's arms. The thought of being separated from Misty again made Mu Chen's heart ache. Oh, Miss. I won't be able to enjoy Miss's warm embrace for many days. Because of this, Mu Chen completely entered shameless mode, taking advantage of Misty in every way possible. Pikachu. You bastard. If you mess around again, I'll get angry. As Pikachu's antics became increasingly outrageous, Aksha finally snapped. I'm so angry. Ash is right there. What if he sees this? However, Aksha was overthinking things. Aksha. We'll stop here. You should get some rest. Tomorrow is the round of 16, and you'll see how I win. Ash wasn't paying any attention to the interaction between Aksha and Pikachu behind him. At that moment, the unfortunate boy's eyes were already shining brightly. The league championship, his dream, was getting closer and closer. Night fell. After saying goodbye to Aksha, Ash and Mu Chen returned to the rest area for the contestants. However, back at the guest house, looking at the soundly sleeping Ash, Mu Chen couldn't fall asleep no matter what. Damn it. There's no harm in comparison. How warm Aksha's embrace was. How gentle Aksha's snoring was. Unlike this idiot, could you possibly snore any louder? Unable to sleep due to the snoring, Mu Chen reluctantly left his room for some fresh air. Unexpectedly, a beautiful figure appeared before him as soon as he stepped into the courtyard. Seeing the female ninja Lingzi in her tight-fitting clothes, Mu Chen knew it was Aju who had brought him a message. According to my brother's assessment, Lance plans to befriend Ash and try to win him over. As for Kiku, because of her rivalry with Lance, my brother couldn't get any specific information. This was the message Lingzi brought to Mu Chen. Mu Chen was quite satisfied with this news. If Lance was willing to temporarily back down, he would have more time to improve. Kiku alone wasn't enough to put too much pressure on Mu Chen. At least now, knowing Lance's attitude, Mu Chen could focus all his attention on Kiku. The most important thing at the moment was naturally the league tournament. Participating in the tournament would give him exposure. The preliminary rounds had few viewers, but now, with the top 16 in, the entire Kanto region was watching. Mu Chen knew that as long as he performed impressively enough, his name would soon spread throughout the Kanto region. Then, it wouldn't be so easy for Kikuko to make any more moves. After all, Kikuko represented the league, and so-called justice. She wouldn't dare to truly abandon her dignity. And thus, having gained a period of peaceful development, Mu Chen could naturally continue to strengthen himself. Once he won the league championship and received the main quest rewards, Mu Chen believed his strength would definitely improve further. Revenge. That would naturally be a matter for later. Of course, what Mu Chen was most satisfied with at this moment wasn't this news. Looking at Lingzi kneeling before him, Mu Chen perked up. Come to think of it, I was actually feeling a bit out of place after leaving Misty's warm embrace. Now that this young lady is here, a hug, taking advantage of her a little shouldn't be a problem, right? Thinking it, he acted without hesitation, Mu Chen leaping into Lingzi's arms. Startled by Pikachu's sudden attack, Lingzi instinctively cried out. However, faced with this incredibly terrifying Pikachu, Lingzi dared not make any move to resist. Chapter 320 New Rules, Lava Sites. Ladies and gentlemen, trainers from all walks of life, welcome to the Kanto Region League Tournament. Now, we are holding the round of 16 matches. First, let's welcome Ash from Pallet Town, with the host's enthusiastic commentary. Ash, looking excited, slowly entered the arena through the player entrance. Seeing Ash enter, the host picked up the microphone again. Alright. Next, let's welcome another contestant, Zhang. Also, as the competition becomes increasingly intense and the strength of the competitors grows, the rules have changed for the round of 16. The current rule is that each contestant must select 3 Pokémon in advance, and then draw their battleground. This will further test the contestants' overall strength and adaptability to terrain tactics. Following the host's introduction, a boy with loose hair, about the same age as Ash, walked onto the stage amidst cheers. But just as Zhang entered, the host announced a change in the tournament rules. The previous rules involved drawing a battleground first, followed by 6 Vote 6 Pokémon battles. Now, with the round of 16 approaching, the battles have become 3 Vote 3, but players must first choose their Pokémon before drawing a battleground. This naturally increases the difficulty significantly. If your chosen Pokémon isn't suited to a particular battleground, even if it's powerful, it will be defeated by a weaker opponent who is adapted to that battleground. Alright. Now, please register your Pokémon, the host urged the 2 players as they entered. Hearing the host's introduction, Ash had no objections. Whether it was 6 Vote 6 or 3 Vote 3, Ash was confident of victory. I choose you, Pikachu, Melodic, and you, Miskirt. Considering the variety of battlegrounds, Ash ultimately chose these 3 Pokémon. Although Gardevoir is also powerful, it would be useless if the opponent had a Dark-type Pokémon. Ash's choice wasn't problematic given the uncertainty of his opponent's chosen Pokémon. After all, Pikachu was among his choices. However, both his opponents and the spectators watching from the sidelines expressed their incomprehension and ridicule at Ash's choice. Ha ha ha. I don't understand this kid. He actually gave up powerful Pokémon like Gardevoir and sent out a Pikachu instead. That's right, Gardevoir is so powerful. I remember this kid won the last battle with Gardevoir, right, but how could these spectators who were arguing and even mocking him know that at this moment, the league's high-ranking officials were all focused on the stage of this competition? Most ordinary people didn't know Pikachu, but how could those higher-ranking officials not know? In the eyes of these higher-ranking officials, this Pikachu was also a champion-level Pokémon. Now that Pikachu had been unleashed and Ash had sent out Pikachu to fight, it meant that the champion of this competition would basically be a foregone conclusion. Alright. Now let's draw the arena. With a host's order, a huge projector slowly descended. Then, images representing various terrains rapidly changed. Finally, oh dear. Today's battle is on a fire-type terrain with lava formations. This is a huge test of the Pokémon's adaptability. Just as the host said, today's arena is indeed a high-level fire-type terrain with lava formations. This lava terrain is exactly like the Blaine Gym on Cinnabar Island. There are only a few protruding stone pillars to stand on, and beneath these pillars, lava is billowing. Unless it's a fire-type or rock-type Pokémon, it's impossible to survive even a second in the lava. It's over. Ash is doomed. I wasted the 50,000 yuan I specifically bet on him to win. Exactly. Choosing a Pikachu instead of Gardevoir is just ridiculous. The audience made their judgments as they observed the terrain. Melodic is completely useless on this terrain. Although it's a water-type Pokémon, in a terrain with insufficient footholds, it can't even participate in battle. While Misfortune can participate, she's also limited by the terrain and can't unleash her full potential. The final Pikachu won't lose much of its battle power due to the terrain. But the problem is, does Pikachu even have any battle power? Aren't these cute creatures just for making little girls happy? Ha ha ha. It seems even the heavens are on my side. So, my first Pokémon is chosen, Graveler, seeing that such a challenging terrain had been drawn, Xiaozheng was overjoyed. All 3 Pokémon he registered could perform at their full potential in this terrain, and even receive a boost. This was truly drawing home field advantage. Although Graveler is a rock-ground type Pokémon, its rock attribute makes it very resistant to high temperatures. In this lava terrain, Graveler won't lose any battle power. Graveler? Then I choose you, Pikachu. Are you going to join the battle directly? Okay then, I choose you, Pikachu. Originally, Xiaozhi intended to choose Miss Pikachu to join the battle against Graveler. Regardless of the terrain advantage, Miss Skirt's own type completely counters this guy. But unexpectedly, before he could even throw his Pokeball, Pikachu perched on his shoulder darted out. Pika Pika, damn it. Just a weakling, who has time to watch you guys go at it like this? With his greatly improved strength, Mu Chen didn't care about these ordinary opponents at all. Whatever the terrain, whatever the type of Pokemon, he'd just take them down in a few moves and call it a day. Ha ha ha. Looks like Ash is really giving up, huh? Facing a Graveler immune to electric type Pokemon, he actually sent out Pikachu. That's right, it seems Xiaozheng has already secured his place in the top 8. With Pikachu's appearance, the skepticism of the spectators rose again. Pika Pika, a bunch of ignorant mortals, just wait, today I'll show you what true terror is. The skeptical murmurs from the sidelines reached Mu Chen's ears as well. To them, Mu Chen merely responded with a cold laugh. On this stage, Mu Chen had no intention of holding back. Only by letting everyone in the entire Kanto region know his strength could he dispel those ill-intentioned gazes. Chapter 321, the goal is an instant kill. Grenadier, use Rock Slide. The match had already begun, and seeing that Ash had sent a Pikachu to participate, Xiaozheng had already decided the outcome. He was joking, even without the terrain factor, could Pikachu defeat Geodude? Absolutely impossible. Whoosh, following Xiaozheng's command, Geodude launched a rock slide attack at Pikachu perched on the opposite pillar. However, in Mu Chen's eyes, this was utterly pathetic. Pika Pika, trash, get out of here. Having already planned to demonstrate his strength to the entire Kanto region, Mu Chen naturally wouldn't hold back. With high-speed movement and quick attack activated, Mu Chen instantly transformed into Golden Streak, shooting towards the pillar where Geodude was located. This thing had the ground type, so Mu Chen's electric type moves were useless against it. However, the terrain was still a lava field, so even using mystic power would only unleash a fire-type energy attack. Rock-type Pokemon are also incredibly immune to fire-type attacks, so Mu Chen naturally wouldn't waste his time. Melee combat would suffice against this thing. What? So fast? Seeing Pikachu instantly transform into a blur, Zhang was immediately taken aback. This Pikachu's speed was ridiculously fast. However, before Zhang could react, Mu Chen had already rushed to Graveler's side. Pika Pika, get in the water. Without the slightest hesitation, Iron Tail was unleashed, Mu Chen lashing out at the bulky Graveler. Through continuous increases in base stats and a 5% boost from the Mu gene, Mu Chen's physical attack was now quite formidable. Against Graveler, Iron Tail, with its type advantage, could still inflict significant damage. Bang, whoosh, Iron Tail lashed out, and the unprepared Graveler let out a scream. Immediately, the unsteady gravestone swayed and fell directly into the scalding lava below. Splash! All the spectators were stunned as they watched Gravestone crash into the lava. Good heavens! Is that really Pikachu? It's so powerful? Who even saw Pikachu's movements? For these ordinary trainers and even civilians, they simply couldn't accurately see Pikachu's attack trajectory. In the blink of an eye, Gravestone was defeated? If this weren't the stage for the league's top 16, these spectators would probably have thought it was just a performance by Gravestone. Damn it! Gravestone, hold on, get out. Use tackle. Seeing Gravestone whipped into the lava by its tail, Xiaozheng panicked. While Gravestone could resist the lava for a short time, it wouldn't last long. However, under Xiaozheng's expectant gaze, the Gravestone, still in the lava, didn't react. It has been determined that Graveler is unable to battle. Pikachu wins this round. Finally, after a long wait, the referee made his decision. Graveler, however, was already unconscious, seeing stars. Looking at the unconscious Graveler, both the spectators and the trainers in the arena were incredulous. How could this be? Pikachu knocked out Graveler, known for its strong defense, with just a tail swipe? However, the facts were undeniable. Damn it! My second Pokémon is chosen, Arcanine. Graveler's unexpected defeat completely disrupted Xiaoxiang's plans. He had envisioned that in this perfectly suited arena, Graveler could at least wear down one of Ash's Pokémon. Even if it couldn't, forcing Ash to use a Grass-type Pokémon first would give him the upper hands in this subsequent battle. But who would have thought that Graveler would be knocked unconscious by Pikachu's tail? Ow! At Xiaoxiang's summons, a graceful and majestic Arcanine appeared on the field. As a Fire-type Pokémon, this lava terrain was practically its home turf. This was one of the reasons Xiaoxiang was overjoyed upon seeing the terrain he had drawn. Pikachu, use Thunderbolt. Seeing Arcanine appear, Xiaoxiang immediately gave Pikachu the attack command. Arcanine was already a powerful Pokémon, and now, fighting on its home turf, Xiaoxiang couldn't afford to be careless. Thunderbolt? Arcanine, let's not back down, use Flamethrower. Hearing Xiaoxiang's command, Xiaoxiang also quickly gave Arcanine the sit command. Thunderbolt was a very powerful move among electric-type Pokémon. Although Xiaoxiang was somewhat skeptical about whether this Pikachu would actually use such a move, Flamethrower was definitely the best precaution. Ow! As a loyal Pokémon, Arcanine naturally wouldn't disobey its trainer's orders. The moment it heard Xiaoxiang's command, Arcanine opened its mouth wide, spewing out a dense stream of fire-type energy. However, the expected skill clash didn't happen. Pikachu, Volt? Volt my ass. Mu Chen decisively ignored Xiaoxiang's command. I'm going to show off my power and prestige. Who has time to exchange blows with this Arcanine? I want a one-hit kill. Thunderbolt can't one-hit kill Arcanine without charging, so Mu Chen naturally didn't bother using it. Electric Ball is more reliable now. Even without charging, as long as the speed is increased, taking down this Arcanine is no problem. Quickly leaping to dodge the oncoming Flamethrower, Mu Chen entered a rapid charge state. As the speed increased, the running Mu Chen was like a golden Pokémon, constantly leaping between the stone pillars on the field. Ha! Simply running away won't defeat Arcanine. Arcanine, keep using Flamethrower. Seeing that Pikachu wasn't using Thunderbolt but instead kept dodging, Xiaoxiang sneered inwardly. HMPH. This idiot, trying to scare me? Pikachu knows Thunderbolt? What a joke. But just as Xiaoxiang was smugly preparing to win the match, the constantly weaving golden figure suddenly changed. The golden figure suddenly activated Quick Attack, leaping high into the air. Then, with a flick of its tail, a ball of electricity the size of a soccer ball was flung out from between its tails, slamming fiercely into Arcanine. Chapter 322. Let's prepare for a thunderclap. Damn it. Arcanine, you've had a tough time. Go, my strongest partner, Charizard. Pikachu's power exceeded Xiaoxiang's expectations. Watching Arcanine being blasted away by a single electric ball, Xiaoxiang's heart sank. What kind of move did Pikachu use? Even now, with his Arcanine defeated, Xiaoxiang still couldn't understand what Pikachu had used. Why was it so powerful? Arcanine wasn't a weak Pokémon, its superior base stats combined with its relatively high level, plus its home field advantage, meant it was a formidable opponent. Originally, Xiaoxiang had even planned to use Arcanine to take on 3 opponents at once. However, one electric ball and Arcanine was done for. Helpless, Xiaoxiang could only summon his last Pokémon, Charizard. Although Charizard was stronger than Arcanine in terms of combat power, it was a flying fire type. Facing this electric-type Pikachu, Xiaoxiang was even more uncertain. Pikachu, well done. Now, let's defeat Charizard and win this match. Xiaoxiang was panicked, but Xiaoxiang was filled with excitement. As expected of his starter Pokémon, as expected of his strongest partner. Before, when Pikachu was suspended, Xiaoxiang had to exert a lot of effort to win. But now, he was just a spectator on the sidelines. He couldn't even give commands, Pikachu was simply crushing the weak. Pika, HMPH. This is nothing. Watch me unleash a powerful attack. Intending to make a name for himself, Mu Chen naturally wouldn't hold back. He hadn't used his charge skill before because this was exactly what he was waiting for. Zzz. Ignoring the Charizard flapping its wings and looking fierce, Mu Chen entered charge mode. He was going to go all out. Although he had already defeated 2, Mu Chen felt it wasn't enough. To make these people remember him, He needed to unleash a truly astonishing attack. Charizard's base speed wasn't slow, so Mu Chen certainly wouldn't choose Electric Ball. What if, after charging, the Electric Ball didn't produce a black flame? Would that reveal his true strength? Mu Chen wasn't stupid. Right now, Lance, Aki, and even Aj were in this situation because they didn't know the full power of his Electric Ball. If he accidentally revealed his true strength, it would be dangerous. Therefore, Mu Chen's final decision was to unleash a thunder attack with impressive sound effects and a stunning spectacle. This would be enough to instantly kill Charizard and create a huge visual impact, so why wouldn't Mu Chen do it? Charizard, use Flamethrower. Of course, Ajang was unaware of Mu Chen's plan. Looking at Pikachu standing still and striking a pose, Ajang couldn't help but ask. Of the 3 Pokémon competing, he now only had this last one left. If he could defeat this Pikachu, which was stronger than he had anticipated, then he would have a chance to defeat all 3 of them. But if they failed, then there would be nothing left. To seize victory, to grasp this last remaining opportunity, Ajang chose to go all out. Attack, Charizard. Let them see your powerful attack. Roar. With Ajang's command, Charizard raised its neck high. Then, a mouthful of flame filled with scorching energy was unleashed. Judging by its power alone, it was 3 points stronger than Arcane's Flamethrower. However, power alone wasn't enough. With the aid of high-speed movement, Mu Chen easily dodged Charizard's attack with a light leap. Immediately, sparks of electricity began to dance on Mu Chen's cheeks. Look! That Pikachu looks like it's about to attack, yet. What kind of attack is it this time? Is it that weird Electric Ball again? I don't think so. If it were the previous move, should Pikachu be accelerating? It's just standing still, exactly. Look at the electric current flashing in its cheeks. I feel like it's brewing some terrifying ultimate move. Impossible. I think it's at most Thunderbolt. Pikachu, what kind of terrifying ultimate move could it possibly learn? After Mu Chen's 2 swift defeats, the audience outside the arena no longer mocked it as much as before. In fact, many viewers had acknowledged Pikachu's strength and were beginning to look forward to its next attack. Would it also defeat its opponent this time? Probably not. Charizard, that's the most popular starter Pokémon in the Kanto region, a symbol of power. What's this Pikachu brewing? It doesn't seem like it's going to use Thunderbolt. It doesn't seem like Electric Ball either. If it were Electric Ball, this little guy would probably have already started accelerating and running. Whatever it is, we'll find out soon enough. But this Pikachu is really smart. It saved its boosting move, Charge, for last. Like the general public, the Elite Four members watching from inside the Tower of Kings were also full of anticipation for Pikachu's next attack. What other moves could this Pikachu possibly have? Charizard, keep using Flamethrower. Attack the pillar under Pikachu. Seeing the constantly flashing electricity on Pikachu's cheeks, and seeing Charizard's Flamethrower easily dodged by Pikachu, Xiaozheng panicked. If he let this guy attack again, Xiaozheng had no confidence that Charizard could withstand it. Therefore, Xiaozheng's final decision was to have Charizard attack the pillar under Pikachu's feet. Anyway, Charizard can fly. Even if it destroys all the pillars, he won't panic at all. However, Xiaozheng was unaware that Pikachu's charging was already complete. Pikachu, Thunder, let's go. Since acquiring the magnet and a boost from the Mu gene, Mu Chen hadn't used the skill that depleted his power. Now, after charging, Mu Chen was full of anticipation. Thunder, let's see just how powerful you are. Boom, with Mu Chen's shout, the sky above the entire arena suddenly changed color. A huge black cloud suddenly appeared from the clear sky. Then, dazzling flashes of electricity crackled within the cloud. Crackling, with a leaping of the electric sparks, the sound of electrical fluctuations followed. Seeing the scene descend like divine punishment, Charizard, who was preparing its Flamethrower, was stunned. Xiaozheng, who was directing from behind Charizard, was stunned. The spectators outside the arena were stunned. Even the many high-ranking members watching from inside the Tower of Kings were stunned. Chapter 323 Terrifying Thunder. Boom, boom, boom. Countless bolts of lightning, as thick as arms, rained down, engulfing the entire arena in this terrifying divine punishment. Quick! Increase the strength of the energy shield. We can't let the power of the lightning spread, damn it. We must stop this Pikachu from using such a powerful move. Our energy shield can't withstand it, Even if it can't withstand it, we have to. Tens of thousands of spectators outside the arena. Do you know how many casualties will be if the energy spreads? Never mind that, get the referees and the 2 participating trainers evacuated immediately. Seeing the terrifying scene before them, the league's top officials were all shaken. The previous electric ball attack was terrifying enough, but this lightning was even more so. Although one was a single target attack and the other a multi-target attack, in terms of damage to the arena, lightning was far superior to electric ball. These officials knew that if the lightning's energy shattered the energy shield and this terrifying cloud spread, it could cause the most horrific tragedy in the history of the league's major tournaments. Tens of thousands of spectators, few could escape the divine punishment of lightning. Quick! You two, get out of here. Having reached the round of 16, the competition venue is naturally much more advanced than the previous preliminaries. Therefore, the protective measures for the contestants were also much stronger. Behind Ash and Zheng, there was a safe portal, through which they could quickly evacuate and escape outside the venue. Charizard, come back. Seeing such a terrifying attack, Zheng was completely terrified. What was the point of the competition in this situation? What was the point of fighting for the top 8? It was a joke. If Charizard was struck by this terrifying lightning, it would surely die on the spot. Quickly recalling the panicked Charizard, Zheng entered the portal without hesitation. Meanwhile, on the other side, Pikachu. I won't leave. We're partners, I'll stay with you. A Pokeball failed to recall, and Ash once again displayed his strong, stubborn spirit. Originally, Ash wanted to follow Xiao Zheng's example and summon Pikachu back into its Pokeball to escape. However, for Mu Chen, it was better to die fighting than go to some damn Pokeball. Ash's summoning naturally came to nothing. Looking at Pikachu in the arena, it would be a lie to say Ash wasn't anxious. Such terrifying lightning was falling, this thing was attacking indiscriminately. Even if Pikachu wasn't afraid of lightning, what about the stone pillar beneath its feet? If the pillar was destroyed, what would happen to the rolling lava below? However, Ash didn't understand Mu Chen's plans. Pika, what's the panic? You're such a burden, just run the hell out. Hearing that Ash, that idiot, wasn't leaving but instead said he wanted to face the danger with him, Mu Chen was almost driven mad with anger. Damn it. I have a way to deal with this. How the hell are you going to deal with it? You're not afraid of electric shocks, but can you withstand a lightning bolt as thick as an arm falling down? Unfortunately, Ash was stubborn and had already made his decision, and there was no way Mu Chen could change his mind. As the lightning continued to fall, Mu Chen lost his previous composure. Although he was immune to electric attacks, just as Ash had expected, the stone pillar supporting his stance was not immune to the bombardment of lightning. Boom, 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 bolts of lightning struck, and stone pillars within the arena were continuously shattered, completely submerged in the rolling lava. However, this was not the end. With each strike of lightning, the energy shield protecting the arena trembled violently. Ripples emanated from the energy shield, as if it would be shattered at any moment by this divine punishment. Seeing this world-ending scene, the spectators outside the arena lost their previous spectator mentality. Countless spectators retreated to the back, fearing that the energy shield would collapse and the lightning would leak out. Looking at the chaotic arena, the Elite Four members inside the Tower of Kings were immediately overwhelmed. That damn Pikachu! A ban. A ban is a must. Of course, this match ends with the quarterfinals, so they can't just ban Pikachu from participating. But such a powerful move must be banned. Of course, that's a matter for later. At this moment, the league leaders summoned the Pokémon, letting them use their skills to help recharge the energy shield and maintain its stability. To put it bluntly, the energy shield is developed using Pokémon's energy. Although this unconverted recharging wastes a lot of energy, there are just too many of them. With the appearance of many Elite Four level Pokémon, the trembling energy shield stabilized again. With safety guaranteed, the panicked spectators outside the arena gradually calmed down under the reassurance of the league staff. Looking at the heavenly punishment-like scene inside the energy shield, the spectators gasped in amazement. My god! This Pikachu! Is this even Pikachu? I swear, I've never seen such a terrifying Pikachu in my life. Don't talk nonsense, this isn't just any Pikachu. Even the legendary Pokémon wouldn't be this powerful. This Ash from Pallet Town is probably the champion of this tournament. Is there any need to be afraid? Didn't you see that the Elite Four members intervened because of this Pikachu's attack? What does that mean? It means that this Pikachu's strength has already caught the Elite Four's attention. Previously, these spectators only felt that Pikachu was very strong, but they didn't know exactly how strong. Now, they finally know just how powerful this Pikachu really is. Meanwhile, inside the arena, Mu Chen was filled with grief and indignation. He was showing off just fine, and even when these lightning bolts destroyed all the stone pillars, he wasn't worried. You see, because he was immune to electric-type attacks, Mu Chen could use his super speed to jump around using the lightning bolts as footholds. Imagine the sheer awe-inspiring sight of a Pikachu treading on lightning. Unfortunately, Ash, that goofball, wouldn't budge. To protect Ash, Mu Chen had no choice but to abandon his show-off plan and instead frantically hover above Ash's head, shielding him from wave after wave of lightning strikes. Boom boom boom, finally, the lightning subsided. At this moment, not a single intact pillar remained in the arena. Even the churning lava had been shattered and scattered into a chaotic mess. Chapter 324 The upcoming quarterfinals. Let's congratulate the winner of this match. It's Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town and his Pokémon, Pikachu. With a host's slightly dazed commentary, this amazing round of 16 match came to a close. Watching Ash walk out of the arena carrying Pikachu, tens of thousands of spectators outside rose to their feet, erupting in thunderous applause. Now, everyone knew that Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town was destined to be the champion of this year's Pokémon League. No one could be his opponent, no one could withstand the terrifying Pikachu. It was precisely because of this match that Pikachu, a Pokémon originally intended for cuteness, completely shattered people's perceptions. Even after the match, countless people began searching for Pikachu in the wild. This Pokémon gave countless trainers struggling at the bottom a renewed hope for a comeback. They didn't even need to be as overpowered as Ash's, just having half the power of his would surely make them soar. However, these guys didn't know that Ash's Pikachu. What? Why are you banning my Pikachu from using powerful moves? Ash had just stepped off the arena when he received a notification from the league officials. Looking at the serious-faced league official in front of him, Ash was filled with confusion. Why? My Pikachu is powerful, so why can't I use it? Last time, it caused casualties and killed the opponent's Pokémon, so the ban was understandable. This time? Apart from smashing a few stone pillars, it didn't seem to cause any damage, right? However, how could Ash know that if it weren't for the Elite Four's intervention, the energy shield probably wouldn't have been able to withstand that thunder attack either? Once the energy shield broke, allowing the energy of the thunder attack to spread, the impact would be huge. It was precisely for this reason that the league's higher-ups, at Agatha's suggestion, unanimously agreed to restrict Pikachu. This terrifying creature, last time it was electric ball, this time it's thunder, who knows what kind of thing it will come up with next? However, it was precisely because of this thunder that Kiku and Lance, who had designs on Pikachu, became even more cautious. This Pikachu was indeed extraordinary. Pika Pika, Mu Chen didn't care about the league's restrictions on him. He had already shown his full potential and revealed everything he needed to. Mu Chen knew that after his thunder today, Kiku and the others would have to think twice before making any moves. He was joking, the power of this thunder had even frightened Mu Chen himself. Compared to this thunder, the Zapdos's thunder was nothing. However, while Mu Chen didn't care, some of his rival trainers were very concerned. Really? That Pikachu was indeed restricted from using moves? It can't use those powerful moves anymore? What if it used them? Would it be considered a defeat? At this moment, as Ash's arch-rival, Gary was filled with mixed feelings. Who could have imagined that the yellow-skinned mouse that could only use electric shocks had grown to this extent? Shigeru knew that the gap between him and Ash had widened considerably. After seeing this Pikachu use thunder, Shigeru had already given up on winning. He and Ash were simply not in the same league. But just when he was about to give up, he received this wonderful news. The league had officially restricted Pikachu, prohibiting it from using any high-powered moves. This meant that Pikachu's threat had been reduced by more than half. Hearing this news, Shigeru saw hope of defeating Ash again. Others might not know Ash well, but as his arch-rival, Shigeru knew this goofy guy very well. Aside from that bug-like Pikachu, he basically didn't consider Milotic or other Pokémon a threat. However, the unfortunate Shigeru didn't know that he hadn't even had a chance to see Ash before being eliminated in 3 wins. Ha ha ha. Gary, how did you lose? I was saying I'd challenge you to a match in the league tournament, You really disappointed me, having successfully advanced to the top 8. Ash, that idiot, immediately offered his consolation after Gary was eliminated. However, he didn't realize that his consolation was nothing short of provocation. HMPH. Ash, don't be so smug. Pikachu is banned from using high-powered moves, so winning won't be so easy for you. Let me tell you, don't disgrace Pallet Town. Gary was angry about losing, but even angrier at Ash's taunts. However, Gary was more mature than Ash. To him, his defeat was a fact. Ash was the only trainer left representing Pallet Town, a small place. For the sake of regional honor, Gary chose to support Ash. Ha ha ha. Don't worry, I can't possibly lose. Ash's inexplicable confidence returned. He never imagined he would lose. Pikachu, Mu Chen had absolutely no interest in the argument between the two. His attention was entirely focused on the row of cheering girls behind Xiaomao. Damn it. What a waste. You say you're done for, but you'd better leave all these girls behind. I need cheering girls too when I'm fighting. Unfortunately, due to the language barrier, Mu Chen didn't dare to write this request to Xiaomao directly. In the end, Mu Chen could only watch with reluctance as that brat Xiaomao took the whole carload of girls away. Damn it, so young and already so bad. Watch your kidneys. Of course, Xiaozhi was completely unaware of Mu Chen's inner thoughts. Excited all night, Xiaozhi woke up with bloodshot eyes, but his energy was boundless. Pikachu. Let's go, let's battle. Today was the quarterfinals of the league tournament. If Xiaozhi won this match, he would advance to the semifinals. As the league champion of his dreams drew ever closer, Ash was trembling with excitement. However, while Ash was excited, Mu Chen wasn't. Pikachu, damn it. How many more days do I have to endure this torture? This bastard won't sleep, he won't even let me sleep. Chapter 325 Quarterfinals, Opponent, Konoha. Ladies and gentlemen, trainers from all walks of life, let's cheer. The league tournament has now reached the quarterfinals. Those who have made it to this stage are all formidable warriors. First, let's welcome Ash from Pallet Town. I'm sure everyone remembers his Pikachu very well. In the bustling arena, the host enthusiastically introduced Ash to the eagerly awaiting audience. First to appear, naturally, was the goofy Ash. Through his battle in the round of 16, Ash had truly made a name for himself. Now, not only the league's top brats, but also many discerning trainers and even ordinary people, all believe that Ash would undoubtedly be the champion of this year's league tournament. Pikachu, it's just too strong. Next, let's give a warm round of applause to Konoha from Celadon City. In the round of 16, Konoha crushed Gary, another trainer from Pallet Town, with overwhelming force. Now, let's see if Konoha can defeat Ash, also from Pallet Town. The applause gradually subsided, and the host's voice rang out again. This time, the host was introducing Ash's opponent, Konoha. This Konoha was the one who had previously defeated Gary, eliminating him. Ash from Pallet Town? Ha ha ha. Today, let me tell you that trainers from small towns like you will never be a match for me. Looking at Ash, and at Pikachu on Ash's shoulder, Konoha was filled with unwavering confidence. If Konoha had been somewhat panicked after witnessing Pikachu's terrifying heavenly punishment attack, he was completely reassured after learning that the league had restricted Pikachu from using such a powerful move that could destroy the arena and destabilize the energy shield. What's the point of Pikachu if it can't use its ultimate move? Just be cute? Konoha thought that after learning Pikachu was restricted, he could already see the door to the semifinals opening before him. So you're the one who eliminated that jerk Gary? Let me tell you, I'm not as weak as that Gary. Seeing this Konoha from the big city showing off his superiority, Ash decisively retaliated. Are you kidding me? Can that trash Gary compare to me? Ash, am going to become the league champion, the world's #1 trainer. Pika. This time, Mu Chen and Ash were on the same side. What the hell? You're trying to act non-mainstream with that afro? And you even made it green? Big city? What's so great about a big city? Showing off your superiority? HMPH. Even if you can't use your ultimate move, I'll still crush you. Mu Chen knew that what the league prohibited him from using was just his ultimate move that was amplified after charging. As long as there's no amplification, it won't pose any threat to the energy shield. Anyway, he's already shown off enough. Even if Mu Chen were asked to use the thunder skill that drains his own electricity, he wouldn't bother. This Konoha guy is a complete idiot. Does he really think I'm trash just because I don't use thunder? Haha. It seems there's a lot of tension between the two trainers. Well then, let me announce the official start of the quarterfinals. Now, please register your Pokémon. After the round of 16, the rules remain the same. 3 pre-registered Pokémon, then the competition venue is drawn. Of course, with the increased intensity of the competition, the venues aren't as friendly as before. For example, Ash's previous lava field featured various harsh terrains. This will greatly test the trainer's choice of Pokémon and their type combinations. Registering Pokémon was no surprise. Ash's first registered Pokémon was still Pikachu. Then, he changed tactics again. He replaced Melodic with Gardevoir. Miss Skirt was also replaced, this time by Pidgeotto, that stubborn little devil. Clearly, Ash also sensed that Melodic's massive size would be affected by the terrain limitations. However, when the arena was revealed, Ash was in for a surprise. Oh no! How come it's Rapids Arena in the water arena? Just as Ash said, this time the arena was a water arena. If that were all, it wouldn't be so bad. The problem was that there were very few places for non-water type Pokémon to land in this arena, just floating platforms on the water. Because it was a Rapids arena, these platforms weren't fixed in one place, but constantly moving with the current. This kind of arena was extremely unfriendly to non-water type Pokémon. Pikachu, what the hell? Similarly, when Mu Chen saw the slowly rising arena, he was speechless. Ash, you idiot, why did you replace that old lady Melodic? This arena is Melodic's home turf. Damn it, wouldn't it be better to just sit back and win? Mu Chen knew that if Melodic could participate in this match, it could at least take down 1 or 2 of the opponent's Pokémon. With a good performance, a 3-on-1 victory wasn't even impossible. However, Ash, that idiot, tried to outsmart him, and ended up getting himself into the trap. Mu Chen had put on a strong show in the round of 16 to demonstrate his power. Now that the demonstration was over, Mu Chen was genuinely helpless about the match. If he could just sit back and win, he definitely wouldn't fight tooth and nail. Anyway, as long as he won, who cares how he won? Unfortunately, Ash, that idiot, wasn't cooperating. Water train? This is a bit troublesome. Well then, I'll send you out first, Scyther. Similarly, upon seeing the water terrain, Konoha frowned slightly. This terrain was extremely unfriendly to non-water type Pokémon. Basically, most non-water type Pokémon, except for those that can fly, had little chance of performing well. After some consideration, Konoha's first choice was the flying bug type Scyther. Swoosh, as a battle-loving Pokémon, any Scyther faces battle with unwavering confidence. Scyther? Then I choose you, Pidgeotto. With his opponent making the first move, Ash naturally wouldn't hesitate. In this kind of arena, Pidgeotto wouldn't be greatly affected. Beep beep, a clear chirping sound rang out. Pidgeotto appeared on the arena at Ash's summons. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.